Hey everyone, and welcome. It is April 11th, Sunday evening. We thank all of you who are joining us for our super late night show. Of course, if you're
Yes.
new, it's kind of where we just talk about whatever. We have a few topics we might talk about, but you can join in the chat. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. It's kind of just a free flowing, more relaxed show. So thank you all for joining us. And how are you, Matt?
I'm good. And also, I was going to say, feel free to join in, to lurk, say hi. If there's anything you want to talk about that you don't want to, identify yourself here, you can DM Cody or I, and we'll bring it up. And we just won't, and we will not identify you. We allow um, everybody to remain as anonymous as they want. It's just
Yes.
like 2012 Twitter. We will bring back, if you want to be like a non bromo, that's fine. um, I'm good. It's been a fun couple weeks of disconnecting my meds, as
Mm.
you have seen and experienced with me all week. And last week, I have not needed my blood pressure meds all week. I am good. They're completely done.
That's
Uh,
good.
the massive spikes of anxiety seem to be tapering off finally. That's been great. So, just FYI, I have not started. I was put on Adderall and I have not started it. I did not think it was a good idea to start it until all of this uh,
Other gets out.
settled.
Yeah.
Right? It just seemed like a good idea. Um,
Don't want to keep adding things on top of things, and then
yeah,
your body's
I'm
like,
like,
whoa,
I'm
something
like, what is
new.
wrong with me? So I spent a lot of time cowering in the bathtub with hot water running over me, like contemplating. Um, there was something super exciting yesterday that I sent you a picture of, a collage. It was National Siblings Day yesterday. So I created a little collage with the help of Bobby, or Little Churro PDX. He's a good friend of ours and Coma Cast. And I showed it to a few people, but at the top of the little pyramid, I put my dad, and then below, myself and the four siblings I have through him. And it was really weird to see us. It's actually the first time I've seen us all clustered together in birth order and
Hmm.
picture. And it was really weird. It was like, oh, this is kind of neat. But,
Yeah, that
it's a
was a
weird
fun
family
photo.
tree. Yeah, it's definitely a weird ass family tree. And this is alcohol, by the way, because I can actually have a drink again. Oh my God. I don't even drink that much, but it's nice to have the option.
I know if you haven't been with us over the last little while, we're always talking about. Usually on Sunday nights here, I have my wine, and then we always talk about. I have my cocktail videos that I do, and we were talking about Matt wasn't going to get to drink that much if he got to visit
Not,
because
I
all
haven't
the.
drank. I've been really good. They said not to have anything to drink while I was on the meds for the first. I think he asked for the first 60 to 90 days, and on average, I really don't even have more than a drink a month for the most part. So it'll be one of those like have a couple of drinks in one evening, and then I won't drink again for God knows how many months. So I said, okay,
Yeah.
it was obviously not a problem, and I thought it was a good idea. And so, but I'm really excited to be able to. Now we can do a challenge, and I have thought of a challenge I think I want us to do on one of the lives. Now we may end up
Hmm.
needing to do this more during the day, so we have more lighting and we can kind of set up in a different room. But I thought it'd be really fun because you brought up maybe doing a bit of a nailed it challenge, right?
Hmm.
I think we should get a respective bottle of wine and we have to drink our way through this challenge. But we should do it while David and Justin are home, just in case we, to have supervision while we're whining it through. But do you think it'd be fun to do like a special afternoon one, and where we basically get drunk and try to recreate some kind of cake or uh, thing? While the
That
only
could be
thing I
very
was thinking
fun.
that we should bake the cake previously because that can take a long time for a cake to be prepped, made, and dried. We'll record a little bit of it so we have some footage to put in later in case any hijinks happen. But I think it'd be more fun to, other than that though, you can make the icings and do all the decorating while on camera and while we're
Hmm.
on live doing this. And I thought it'd just be really funny. But well,
Yeah,
do you
for
think it's fun?
sure.
Do you think this is a fun idea?
I do. I do. I mean, I think we could even take it further. We could
Oh,
you know, do something basic and a little bit easier. Put it up for everybody, and anybody who wants to join us could do it. You could prep a little bit. All I heard was, "I'm so drunk right now."
I was trying to move my phone over, and I hit like I guess I tapped on somebody's Snapchat story, and I was like, "Oh god, oh god, oh god." I was like, "Oh, on a Sunday night, go ahead, wait."
That I mean, isn't any night a good night? I mean, I know people have to go to work,
Bro,
but
I am too old for that. For any night to be a good night, like, like
oh my goodness. I feel like you're gonna be so shocked and surprised when you visit me.
why?
Well, who knows? I can party hard.
I like that you say that while wearing a cat sweater, comfortably sitting on your couch in
Okay,
sweats.
it's not a cat sweater. It is
Oh, it's like a
foxes, bears, mooses, ducks.
moose. That's so cute.
I almost wore a cat shirt, but I did not.
I'm
I
wearing a
it's
tank
because it's
top.
short sleeve.
I'm
Yeah, I
wearing
see.
a dark green.
You are indeed wearing a tank top. So
Yes, I actually, and just for the record, for anybody watching, I am wearing a green tank top. Like, I am not shirtless. um, got cold earlier in the house, but it was 95 all day today. So,
yeah. Yeah, it's been
um,
nice here. It's been 70s outside, so it's been nice. But it's cool in the house. Like it's still 70 something, low 70s. But it gets cold. I was wearing some shorts and a short sleeve shirt. That's why I decided not to do the cat shirt because it was short sleeves and it was a little chilly. So
well, our AC
we went
kicks
long
on,
sleeve.
and for the usually for the Sunday night lives, I will go ahead and shut my office door. I've gotten to the point where I don't care if the cats show up because if we're podcasting, I'll shut all the doors for sure because for recording and everything. But for lives, for Friday Night Live, it's not a big deal. But for Sunday night, it's a couple. We go about 2 hours ish, so that's a long time for David to hear everything that's happening, especially if he's trying to read or watch a movie.
Mm-hmm.
He's really good at tuning me out when he's reading. Actually, he tunes everybody out. If you need anything while he's reading, do not. You need to say his name. None of
Yeah.
this. Oh, I've cut my finger off and I'm bleeding to death, or fainting, or vomiting. No, you need to say his name and get his attention. None of this namby-pamby heart-stopping shit. Cody's
Yeah.
like, "Wow, how many
Eh,
drinks do you have, babe?"
well, we did hear something. I'm drunk, so I thought it was you at first, like some recorded
It was not
something from
me.
you.
No, it was a Snapchat story.
Um, yeah, animals. You always will see an animal, maybe occasionally, at least on the Friday show or Saturday show. I believe on Friday, everyone got
Salem's
to saw
tail.
Salem. Salem was hanging out at first, and he was being a little crazy, and then he went to sleep towards the end of our show. But yeah, we're animal lovers, so who knows? You might see an animal. I actually saw this video
Not at this.
on. I actually saw a video on TikTok. This guy really loves animals, and he loves showers, and he loves to drink. So combo all that together, and this is what you get, Matt.
Are you about to show me? Yeah, you're. You think he forgot to mention he likes the gym, like, and chest day. I think every day is chest day.
Every day is
Oh,
everything day.
right.
I was like, one day I'll do a video like that. One
You know what?
day.
I just realized,
Because
speaking of every day being some kind of day, today is a Coma Cast day, and I did not even retweet us because, like,
oh my goodness.
I know it's so weird.
We do have several people here. We keep having a few more join. Thank y'all. As always, leave a comment if you want to chat, or if you want us to talk about something, or if something we're talking about interests you. Friday's show was really a lot of conversation between us and y'all, and it was so great. We had our topics, but y'all were following along with us and giving us input to whatever all those crazy topics were. There were some crazy news topics this
Yeah, I
past
asked David
Friday.
today. speaking of those news topics, I asked David today about, we talked about Prince Philip, and you and I had talked about the series that I'm going to do is going to be a deep dive into the monarchy and kind of more talking about really how we got from where it was to where it is today. And I was like, man, do you think he finally saw his portrait and this is what brought him down? For those getting the Dorian Gray reference. And all I could think was the next line. It's like I sometimes I think, so I've been writing all day, so I kind of think in dialogue when I'm in that
Mm-hmm.
zone. And my next thought was, but the portrait is supposed to age, not the person. Then I was like, oh God, that portrait must look like Jesus Christ. Like, do you get the Dorian Gray reference?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my God,
Um,
if you don't, I'm calling Gabe and we're gonna fix that. Did you ever read anything or read the Portrait of Dorian Gray?
no. Okay, first of
I
all,
would say I'm a
you're
pilgrim in an
asking
unholy
me.
land, but that's how colonization started. So we're gonna not use that reference anymore. We're gonna say something like, I don't know. I'll get back to you.
Uh, so some of the things that me and Matt were
Plenty
sending
of
back to each other this past week, obviously concerning the monarchy situation going on. A lot of funny things on the internet. Um,
a
maybe
lot
one
of
of them including
disrespectfully funny things too, by the way.
this.
Oh God,
It's not
please.
gonna
Oh God.
play it.
Okay, that might
It
not be a
wasn't
bad
gonna
idea.
play. Dang it.
It may
Maybe
not be
I'll
a
get it
bad
back
thing.
on for us.
Like, I would want to point out when I'm being disrespectful about the monarchy, I'm being disrespectful about the monarchy itself, not the fact that a family lost their husband and father and grandfather. That's a different kind of thing. And I don't, I'm an American citizen. And I've never lived in the UK and things like that. So I don't have anything to say about that because it's what it is. But on the subject of the monarchy, kind of like how I feel about the church. I'm gonna be disrespectful as fuck because it is a fucking relic that was just used to control people by divine right or made up shit. They're both pretty much the same. Cody's like, and Matt will be doing the apology video this week. I notice sometimes, like when I say that, you're just like, "Girl, this is on you."
You know,
It's okay. I don't
apology.
need backup. I don't, look, if one of us is gonna drag something through the mud, I do not need I do not need help fighting my battles. It's okay. But I know you'll come to my defense if it goes too far. And I come to your defense when it goes too far.
Well, so
So,
the thing is, um, I, I don't foresee us ever having to make an apology video on the level of some of the more recent ones we have talked about. Now, there's plenty of people who make apology videos for this or that, and the reality of the situation is those apology videos usually, if it's not these crazy cases that we've talked about, the apology videos in general tend to make someone more popular.
right. And I never wanted to do this for any kind of publicity or notoriety, which is hilarious because of this writing and everything I do is going to put my face somewhere out there, which is like horrifying to me. Even when I release the book, I want to release it under a pseudonym because I don't even want my family to know my name. I just want to be like, oh, look at this thing I did. And that's it. Like, to them. Like, I don't even want them to I don't want them to walk through a Target or a bookstore or a Walmart, because I know most of them ain't into a fucking bookstore, and seeing M. Everhart, like on a title. Perhaps the Coma Cast should hire a PR team just in case. You boldly assume that we have a budget for a PR team. I mean, Cody's been sleeping with the audio guy for years. Justin's our audio guy. He's also
Okay,
sleeping with the video guy. Do you know who
I
also?
got it. I got it, Matt. So again, we're talking about the monarchy, and well, I love a Princess Diana. Princess Diana. Like, I actually remember when Princess Diana died. I remember
So do I
everything. I
actually.
was at my grandmother's house. We were watching something on TV. It was like at 8 or 9, probably at night. I remember then there was like breaking news. Dan Rather came on, and at this point she hadn't passed away. And there was a car crash, and et cetera, et cetera. And then we kept watching, and then they took him to hospital, and then we kept watching, and then ultimately we saw that she had passed away. And then um, my grandmother took me back to my house the next day because we stayed over at my grandmother's house for a sleepover. And I remember going and telling my mom. I guess as a precursor to me being involved in the news business, but I was like, "Oh my God, did you hear Princess Diana died?" And anyway, then I was obsessed with it. I watched the funeral. I recorded the video. The funeral. I have it on VHS. I
I
was
watched the
also so
funeral.
geeky. I recorded it on like a cassette tape, the audio version of this. I think I was just prepping myself to do everything that I
So
currently
I have,
do.
I think you just unrepressed some memories for me. Or is this Jack and Coke David made me? I'm gonna have to get another one. God, husbands are great. Everybody should have
I
one.
mean, I can be
Um,
a therapist.
Cody, my therapist. Yeah. Yeah. Give me a minute. I got some things to say about that. Uh, so I actually do remember Princess Diana's case. Wow. The I remember it happening. So I'm a little bit younger than you. So I think I was in middle school, and we were watching the funeral on TV, and I didn't quite pick up what was happening because I was either doing a puzzle or I was reading. And whenever I'm in those zones, I'm gone. I rant about David, but I'm actually the exact same. But he's not here to defend himself, and I can just talk about it. So I remember my grandfather saying, "If you don't know who Princess Diana is, I'm going to make you watch the news every day." Because I was just very ignorant to the world. Because when I lived with my parents, I didn't. The only thing I remember, the first major news case I remember was the O.J. Simpson trial, and I watched it obsessively. And I was like the human reporter on it. I drove my family crazy. And the same thing when the JonBenet Ramsey case happened, and then kind of, and then of course I would learn about events that happened, like my stepdad grew up in Florida. So when the Sunshine Skyway disaster happened, he talked about it all the time. And we lived not too far from there when I was about 3. So he would take me there. It was one of his favorite places to go as well. We fished when I was a kid. So he would take me there and he would talk about it. And he actually still talks about it. So I remember annoying the shit out of people with like whenever the subject would come up. I knew about it, so I had to talk about it. And I think in my head, I'm talking about what I saw. To the adults around me, it probably sounded really freaking weird because, you have to picture 10 to 11-year-old Matthew, um, all of 50, between 50 and 70 pounds, with my very strong Midwestern accent, which had not been corrected yet. Midwesterners we talk through our noses. So,
Hmm.
yeah, and let's add the bowl cut and big glasses. So I looked like the classic nerd boy talking candidly about these horrifying events because I just was like, well, they happened. They're on the news. And it didn't occur to me how it must sound because you don't think of those things when you're 10. Now I think back on it and I'm like, wow.
Matt, the
Um,
little reporter.
yeah, I've always been that way. And I didn't think much on that until, I met my nephew this year who's 4. And he's very candid. Now his mom talks to him, age appropriately, but he's never ever been baby talked. So he can tell you what he thinks and the things he repeats that he hears. He's gonna be hilarious when he's older. But he sat on my stairs and he explained to me why adults own houses. So I was very excited to ask, and I was like, "Well, why do Uncle David and I have a house?" He goes, to go to work, to come home and sleep in your room, to get up and go to work and go back to sleep. He like repeats basically the adult cycle. And obviously I know he heard that from someone, but the way he did like the head motions and like the deep sighing, like he had just come from the worst meeting ever. Some of the
It
fun
sounds
thing
like he needs a YouTube channel.
well, so so he's technically my great nephew because his mom is the daughter of my oldest sister, and I'm 14 years younger than her. So I'm about 7 or 8 years older than my niece, and she sends me this video of him. He was just really, when he's over it, he will tell you he's over the day, and he goes, "Mommy, where are we gonna die? Because this is taking too long." And I was like, I'm like, what? Where the hell did he hear that? She's like, I don't know. Like, it was the funniest shit I've
Oh my
ever
goodness.
heard in my entire life. I must have replayed it for David at least 5 times. And it's
Jonathan
even,
says, you think that's weird, try being a 14-year-old black kid being completely obsessed with a murder Tejano singer.
I was
Are
also
we
obsessed
speaking
with
of
that.
Selena.
Yes. Oh, don't you follow Johnny Apollo? Yes, we're talking about Selena. And so when that happened, let's see, I'm a couple of years younger than you. So I still lived with my parents. This tells you, like, I would have been at oldest 9 to 10. We watched every documentary, every thing possible that was on TV about it. I
Really?
forgot about
So
that too
here's the
until
deal. Like, I remember, I went to Corpus Christi for a vacation. We stayed in a hotel, and it overlooked the parking lot where she was killed. And so it was just like this weird thing. But like, I always thought it was weird because I'm from Texas. She's from Texas, Corpus Christi, and that whole area. And so she was obviously big in Texas, but like I never really thought of her being big everywhere else because her career was really cut short and she did Tejano music. So she never broke out of really doing Tejano music. I mean, she has the two songs that she's done in English that have become really popular. But so for me, I always thought like, oh, people in Texas know her, but everywhere else doesn't. And then later on, I
Oh, we
learned
knew
that
exactly who she
like it's
was in
amazing,
Ohio.
and that she could have had such an amazing career if if she had gotten to continue because she was planning on doing her English album. And so it's always just like I'm like, oh, I like you hear a lot about like these singers, and she was in the process of actually recording that album, but you hear a lot about these singers who pass away, and then later on a lot of uh, audio recordings are found and then they get released as albums. I'm always like, oh, I wish that they would have had, some of those recordings of her because I love her music and I just want more. We actually have, I think there is, I can't even think. There was some musician who passed away recently, and I think it's Prince. I think Prince is going to have an album get released. Oh my God, David!
Hi.
David's
Oh
in
my
his
God,
underwear right now,
our
so that's why.
For 9.99
our
a month.
numbers are
David says for 9.99 a month, you can see. I'd asked him nicely if he would get another drink for me.
our numbers
So
are
this
going to
is going to
go
be a
through
really
the roof.
exciting live,
Our numbers are
because
going to go through the roof.
watching me get hammered while my underwear clad husband shows up with more alcohol.
Yeah.
Wow,
And
I
we
think
got
I
to
just
see
described a
David.
plot. Oh my god, that's like the premise of like 3 of my screenplays. Wow.
We got to see David. Everyone's always asking to see David. If you're
Okay,
here,
so
maybe.
David has made an appearance on Twitter this last week. Now this is 3 years ago. I posted a picture on like boyfriend day or whatever. Before this is like a year or two before we got married. And he was like, Matt, the point of it being anonymous is that you don't show my face." And I was like, "Okay, queen." And he actually deactivated his Twitter for a short time. And then, I think he's just having a bad day. And so he comes back. Then this past week, he changes his handle. He posts selfies. He's discovered a Starbucks iced coffee drink that he likes. And he also suffered the disappointment today of them being out of it when we went after being stuck in the line for 25 minutes and drive through. And we realized they didn't have it because you don't know until you get to drive through. There was no way to get out of the drive through line. So I got a frappuccino just to like go with it, but he didn't want anything. We've all been there, right? So he has had this about face, and it's been really interesting to see. Now it's a side of David I see almost all the time, and some of our closer friends would see. But being out and about, and then David's like the ones going, "Hey, hi" to people, and I'm like, "Who the f- is this?" Thank you. Um,
Matt, me and
yeah.
David are starting a show together.
Oh,
Sorry to
thank
break
God.
the news.
I need some. Good, because I already have the show I'm gonna do, and honestly, I need a goddamn break. I'll be in my trailer if you need me.
Okay, so we were talking about Princess Diana earlier and the British monarchy. And I was gonna play a clip for y'all, and we finally got the clip ready. Me and Matt were passing these along back
Oh
and
God,
forth.
how
It's
disrespectful is?
okay.
Oh God,
It's I feel like it's not because again I love Princess Diana, and so Princess Diana is
I
yeah.
know exact.
So
Oh
here it
God, I know exactly. Okay, I know which one this
here it
is.
is.
Excuse me, please.
She's like no.
Oh, that's really funny.
I'm a Princess Diana stan in this house.
Oh God.
Earlier, Jonathan also commented. He said perhaps the Coma Cast should hire a PR team just in case. It's going to be Matt.
Oh
Calling it.
yeah. That I'm gonna be the PR team, or we
No,
need one
so
because of me.
so Matt joked around when we were first beginning all this that we needed to make apology videos
Mm,
and just
gosh, yeah, that was a couple years ago.
they're at the ready.
Well, ours are gonna be pretty easy
But
because it's
ours are
not
going to
really
be
a
against
problem.
each other. Yeah,
Oh,
ours are,
that's really
he said
fun.
ours is going to be against each other, that like something happened. We're going to have like a breakup and then
Yeah.
we'll come back together.
We'll have to like change the view for everybody so it looks like hearts, but like broken and staggered, like a broken heart. So it looks like we're separated. And then we'll have like a reunion live. How
I
fun would
mean,
that be?
Matt, you're talking about all these things that bring in ratings now. Look at this.
Unfortunately, one of the biggest problems with me is the things that run through my head. Now, creatively, it's a wonderful idea. I seem to be, I never thought of myself as an idea person, but it does turn out I'm not bad at it. You see, the problem here is the execution. How I execute those things might be how something hits me sideways and I'm like, I have feelings about that. Oh yeah, fuck yeah, we created this whole platform so I can like stand up and talk because why not? So then I say it and you're like, holy crap, I can't there's no pause button. You know. I feel like you
I
have
mean,
go ahead.
I can pause you.
Actually, I feel like what you've done I feel like
Just be like,
what you've really have that you what you've created is like one of those, I'm sorry, we're experiencing technical difficulties to like put over my screen when you've had enough of me. When you
one
need
day,
5 minutes.
one day. I mean, I can always take you away. I can be like, oh, bye. This is my show now.
I can see myself backstage. So I see
He gets
myself in
thrown
black and
into the
white.
backstage.
Yeah, it's really funny. Um
Um,
I think that drink is
so
stronger.
he
That drink is
probably was
stronger
like,
because
let's up this. I actually messaged him.
oh, I like it. You
No, I
message.
didn't.
I
I
would
should
believe
have.
that.
That'd
Now
be
that you
funny.
finally have his number.
I know I didn't have his number. We always messaged on Twitter. So this was crazy news. Who knew about this? You do if you paid attention to the news. We didn't get to talk about this on Friday because we just completely ran out of time. Like we went over on time. Actually, I think we went 30 minutes over
We
on
did, and we had a
Friday.
damn good time doing it.
Um, And so, what I was going to say before I get into that real quick, if you're joining us here and you want to let us know how you've been, anything planned for the upcoming work week, did you do anything fun this weekend? Let us know if you want to. We'd love to hear about that. But one thing we didn't get to talk about is that there is going to be a ketchup shortage. There's a ketchup shortage happening across America. The
Yes, I
single
heard about that.
serving ketchup packets, they're running out of them. So,
Yeah, because they
uh,
were recommended to go single serve to avoid the community shared bottles in light of the pandemic.
yeah, they're struggling. Heinz is struggling to keep up with those orders. As Matt said, they leaned heavily on these packets for deliveries, takeout options, because people were getting those takeouts, but they wanted to throw in some ketchup into the bag. And CDC also asked that restaurants do include things like this that are sealed. But the demand has increased, the prices have increased, and so these are also expensive than like bottle options. So it is kind of a hurt on restaurants, even more on top of everything else they're dealing with, because normally they have the bottles in the restaurant, but now they're having to spend a lot of money on these packets. Heinz is the biggest ketchup producer in the country. And so they promised to tackle this issue. They're trying to increase their output 25% for their production, totaling, they're hoping coming up from now until like, I guess, next year, to increase it to 12 billion ketchup packets. It's like, that's a
Yeah,
lot.
I really think I've always thought the packets and stuff should just have a sign available upon request. because half the time people don't use them. They just get thrown away, and it's a big waste. It is a huge waste. And
Yeah, it's
wow.
one. So something else that restaurants, especially fast food restaurants, do that annoys me so much, and I wish they would just ask. But I know it's people are starting to ask now, but a lot of times in the past it just was becoming like a habit. But you order a drink and they give you straws. I don't need more straws. First of all, a lot of people, especially in California and other places, but California is really big, have reusable straws that they carry with them. We don't need a paper straw, so please ask for a
That's
straw. I
normal
don't
out there.
want reusable straw. Yeah,
I mean, we
I have
have
it.
some of them at home, but
I have it in like a keychain on my keychain.
oh my god,
Uh, I no, I'm a big
that
thing
is the
about
most like
straws. I think straws should be banned. Paper straws, great. I know they're coming out with like some cornstarch type straws and some new technology for straws, but for the most part, plastic straws are unnecessary, not needed. Carry with you reusable straw. Like, I get
how do you drink a
so angry.
frappuccino without a straw?
A reusable straw.
I hate paper straws. We just need something more material that's a little more firm that isn't plastic. And
Yeah,
uh,
I have a hard time
now
with plastic
we
straws.
avoid straws for everything possible. They'll always ask at Starbucks if we want a straw, and we always tell them no because if we need one, we have reusable ones. We have like 4 or 5 reusable ones at home. So and there's only 2 of us, so it's never a problem. But
Do
for the
y'all
most
have?
part,
I know here in California, I don't know anywhere else, but I know when I went back to Texas at the time, that was a year and a half ago, they didn't have this yet. But like if you get any kind of ice drink, not Frappuccino, but any other drink, it has like a
yeah,
pour sippy cup type lid.
yeah, for
Oh,
the
thank
most
God.
part. So what I asked them to do is mix the drink for me, like any kind of drink they give me. I'm like, can you mix it first, so I don't have to shake it, and they can mix it, and I don't actually have to shake it or make a mess on myself because this might shock you, but I'm really clumsy. I wore a thumb full about as much as the width of my thumb amount of barbecue sauce on white shorts earlier. Like it was a ton. They're currently hanging over the side of the banister because I was in the middle of writing and I couldn't be fucking bothered. Um, yeah. If you're all are wondering, yes, this drink is setting in. David sent me a text. It was like, "Get messy, babe." And by the way, this was not planned. I was eating dinner and David called up from the kitchen. Do you want a real drink? I'm like, oh, thank God, yes. So here we are. Cody's like, this
Here
is
we are. Um, Yeah, so I'm not a straw fan. No plastic bags. I think get rid of plastic bags. Those need to be banned too. Like bring your own bags. I do not like that. I've written a whole thing on my blog about this, how horrible they are and for the environment. Um, it just annoys me. The thing I know it is hard in a lot of areas because there's been issues with municipalities not. Um, being able to recycle because the cost has increased, especially with COVID. But even before then, with China not accepting a lot of our recyclables, and most of our recyclables went to China, there also is an issue with some recycling going to like India or different places and getting just dumped. But we tried to be as um, recycle everything we can, or reuse first, reuse anything we can before
right.
recycling.
We
Um,
actually do
I
here
know,
too.
uh, like our trash, like I think we have one trash bag like every week, every 2 weeks. Uh, Recycling is always overflowing, but we try to reuse everything, and then like all of our scraps, all of our out food scraps that can be composted, which is pretty much everything except for like raw meats, um, gets composted. Our paper, like from junk mail, we shred the junk mail, put it in the compost. Like we are doing anything and everything. Um,
We're pretty we try to be as environmentally friendly as absolutely possible, and I'm really trying to restrain myself because when I do drink, this might be hard to believe, but I actually become more candid. And
Uh-oh.
finding out how restrained I really am would probably shock some people. And I don't want to have to issue an apology video.
As Jonathan said, hashtag
Yeah.
messy Matt apology video coming soon.
Well, as I've been, so
So,
remember, my typical response to things is not usually that nice, but I've started a list on my dry erase board that I keep on my desk for the stupid things I say. That's going to go on our merch.
I feel like
Walk
there
it
was
off,
another
Grandma.
one,
Yeah, there was another one, and now I can't
and I
remember
told
it.
you to put it down. Oh my
You
goodness.
did. Well, I didn't like it.
Jonathan,
Whatever it was, I don't think I liked it as much. What?
Jonathan, are you changing your mind on this? You had previously in another episode said I would be the first one to issue an apology video. Are you now changing your mind and saying it's going to be Matt that is issuing the first apology?
Oh, Messy Matt might issue a video, but it won't be a fucking apology. I can tell you that. I might be super sorry that you feel that way and don't have a fucking spine, but I sure as hell am not going to be sorry for what I said. Because even drunk Matt, if you get me to a point to say something, I've probably been thinking it for a couple of years. I'll just say it nicely.
People are in for a treat. So
This is one of the times
another
where I don't. So I never answer questions usually when I'm drunk. Like I did think it would be funny to get really drunk, do one of those, hey guys, ask me anything, because people will ask me some fun questions and then answer it just totally fucking hammered. And this is it gets really fun. On Twitter, I don't care because if you follow me long enough and you get your feelings hurt, it's probably because I've seen something you wrote to somebody else, that I'm like, well, you're still kind of a bastard. My dry erase board keeps trying to fall, so that's what I'm reaching over for.
We previously were talking about earlier our love of animals, and that occasionally you may see our cats join us for our live shows. That's when they may make an appearance or at least be in the room with us. So we love cats. Everybody knows that. I love animals. I saw this video, Matt. I thought it was the cutest thing. It's a cat and his pet or his friend, monkey.
Oh, I saw this. It is really cute.
Oh, buddy, buddy. Oh, arm around the neck. Oh, so cute. That's the other thing I want. I want a monkey. I'd love to have a monkey. Like, I think it would be just so much fun. The compound will have a monkey.
No, please no.
Yep.
Please no. Oh, God.
It's gonna have to stay at your house, but yeah,
Yep, no.
it's gonna be on the compound.
Have you ever changed it? Cody, have you ever changed diapers?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't bother me. It's just, it's a thing.
It kind of surprises me, I guess I never thought about, you don't really strike me as the type of, changing diapers, so,
I mean, it's something that has to be done. Like the cat's throwing up hairballs here. I want to say hairballs, but it's just like, oh, that's me.
Yeah.
It's all me. I'm the cleanup person. But then I got to deal with the chickens. I got to deal with them. I don't want to get into it too much because it could be gross. But sometimes you got to give them a bath because things happen, and
Johnny
you just
Apollo
got to
says,
do
I
it.
think you may apologize for Matt, so technically you're still first, Cody. Oh, I don't think Cody would apologize for me. Not for a second. He'd be like, nope, we're adults. He can own that. Because you'd have enough guilt by association problems, Because, I mean, it's the same thing if you do something really crazy and I'm like, yep, I'm the other half of Coma Cast. Literally, I mean, Coma is built off our names, Cody and Matt. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all I could think was when I was coming up with our names and doing different things that I thought that I showed Cody to be our intro videos, and he was like, "Oh, that's cute," and then the Coma idea hit me out of nowhere, and I texted it to you, and you're like, "Oh my god, that's a really good idea." Did I tell you how I came up with that?
Mm-mm.
It's the most basic and stupid story ever. Because I remember I was sitting there thinking, I was like, okay, we have some basic ass names. What can I create to put out here? I've come up with this idea that Cody has agreed graciously to help me on, and I can't even think of a freaking name for that. And then I thought, well, you know what? Let me write down our names and see what comes to me. And so your name went fine. I really struggle to write capital M's and make them symmetrical. Like it always ends up off center when I write capital M's. And I can't write my last name correctly either. I've always screwed up the capital E, even in cursive or print, no matter what. I can never get it to look right. And I'm sitting there looking at our names, and then I was like, Coma. I was like, huh, that's funny, because it's like people are sleeping on all these crimes that we're trying to like show. And I went, oh my
Yeah.
God, I think I got it. Let me text Cody. And I'm trying to tell David, because at this point, the book is in its infancy. I've just quit my job. And this is an idea that I'm still pitching to you. Like we have not even so much as bought a microphone. And I'm trying to explain to David that I think I just came up with something. He's like, okay, go text Cody and tell him. Damn, like, like. And then you're like, oh, girl, I think that's good. Like, even if he's lying, I'll count this as a win. But then that's what happened. It became Coma, and you created the graphic
And
for it, and
here we are.
here we are a year and a half later, and we're doing live shows, and oh God, so much. We've come so far.
Yeah, so many things. So one thing that we didn't get to talk about this Friday, crazy thing, but well, not part of the story is crazy. Part of the story is great, because United Airlines is going to be opening a pilot training school, and they're going to focus on diversity, which is extremely important because there's lack of diversity as far as pilots are concerned. They usually tend to be older white men, or white men in general. But there's someone who doesn't like this idea. But first of all, let's say this school is going to plan to enroll about 5,000 students over the next 10 years, with 50% of those students being women or people of color. So that's good. 50% women and 50% people of color. I guess the other 50% white people, white males, I guess. Um, but the program has been met with condemnation, Matt. This is going to be good since you've been drinking. It's been met with condemnation by some conservatives, especially he seems to always make an appearance because he has something to say. But Fox News host Tucker Carlson, he
Oh, please
implies
don't
that
put
it's
his
going.
face on here.
He implies it's going to lead to increased plane crashes and deaths. What?
Okay, as a former claims adjuster, I can tell you the most dangerous fucking people on the road are men in general, and that has been true. Men in general, just really, the stereotypical crazy woman driver that rarely ever happened to me, but guys were just insane on the road. Just the shit they would say to me. The other thing that I found that was usually the biggest pile of shit that led to the most crashes, suing, and everything else was police officers lying on police reports. Now, example. So living in Texas, it might be hard to believe, but in an area where everything still has its name for when this was AKA Mexico, everything is named in Spanish, and a lot of most people here are bilingual. So
Mm-hmm.
if a white man or woman had a car accident with somebody who was not of that tintage of skin, the police report would be this detailed, like, oh my God, it was like written like a novel. Now,
Yeah.
two black men get into a car accident, or two teenagers, or college students, or something like that. Vehicle one hit vehicle two. Now, something simple like that might be true in, say, a car accident, like bumped in traffic or something, where it's very plain that everybody was stopped on, I-10 and bumped into each other in rush hour traffic at 5 miles an hour. That is when it happens because people are arguing oh no, they jumped lanes and cut me off and I couldn't stop. Or no, I was stopped and they rolled into me. It'll usually say vehicle one vehicle hit the other, disputed. Not a big deal. But you'll have major car accidents where it says this. And you're like, so how did we get 3 rollovers and there's injuries everywhere? There's like 50 witnesses and vehicle 1 hit vehicle 2. Thanks, officer. Appreciate it. And then you call them. So, right, you want to call them to get a story because most people don't know that we sometimes will call the cops themselves and be like, hi, you wrote this on here. Where's the rest of it? I don't know. It was disputed. I didn't see anything. So you didn't talk to there were no witnesses. Okay, so sometimes the people that are in each other's cars are not necessarily considered credible because they might sway one or the other. But you should at least talk to them and verify if they're injured or not. No. Being a homosexual in Austin, Texas, when I got rear-ended, right after having a molar pulled, David was driving us the 3 miles home. We get rear-ended. I see it coming, and I'm literally texting my best friend, who is a claims adjuster too for Nationwide. And I was like, well, just left. I'm fine. We'll be home in 5 minutes. And I look up and I see the truck coming. Or the car coming. I'm like, David, we're going to get hit. He goes, by what? Boom! Cop doesn't come to the scene. Guy hits and runs and takes off because he's trying to get his kids to their soccer.
Were y'all okay?
Yeah, I just bit down and broke the packing, so I'm spitting blood like it's a Wes Craven movie. And I'm like, David, can you go inside into this gas station, spit some more? I mean, it looks awful. I'm fine. It just looked terrible. So
there's a joke here because
go ahead. Now I want to point out
the
this
gay
car accident
man.
happened right. So in between my dentist office, which David had the same dentist, and our apartment was this little side road where my State Farm office that I worked for was actually located. This happened literally in front of my job. And we called the cops. I call and tell them. Now, typically, you don't want to leave the scene ever. But I was bleeding all over the place, and I couldn't get it to stop. So we did have to turn around, go back to the doctor. And we called them, and they're like, okay, come back in. We'll look at it, repack it for you. And because you don't want stuff like that to freely bleed. And I have enough dental problems that are just existing. I don't need to help. So we get home, call the cops. The cop is such a dick. He goes, you should never have left the scene. And I'm like, look, I had a tooth pulled. Like I couldn't, I was bleeding everywhere because I just clenched my teeth, not thinking. And he's like, we can't tell who hit who and who blah, blah, blah. Well, while the guy was giving David an excuse about how we had to leave for his kid's soccer practice, I had already gotten the license plate and car, and I already knew I looked at the car. I know my cars. I knew it was a mid-2000s Honda Accord, and by the color, because it's not a common color, and where the damage was matched up. So I got pictures of that. I had already called the other insurance company. My friend filed a claim for me, and David called, and they called the guy accepted responsibility for it instantly. And it was before the cop even got there to our house, 3 hours later. He starts telling me, I was like, oh, sir, no, it's already accepted. I only called you because I'm supposed to, but I couldn't stay because, I'm licensed for this. Like I'm still licensed actually, even though I don't work for a company. My licensing comes from the Department of Insurance. So it is now pouring down rain, but because I've already said what I said, he had to walk out to the Jeep with David in the pouring rain and look at it and verify. But if you'd shown up 2.5 hours earlier for the hit and run that we reported, because he was like, it's going to be disputed and I can't do anything about it. I'm like, oh, sir, I'm not disputing anything, and neither is the other guy. We already got him, but I'm only calling you because I'm supposed to.
Oh my goodness.
Now, don't get me wrong. There are plenty of officers and law enforcement who have been incredibly helpful in the weirdest of situations. But it is absolutely still doing the right thing, which is your fucking job, still doesn't take away from the systemic issue that is law enforcement, from what I've witnessed every fucking time in my adult and childhood. That's great. You did the right thing because it's your freaking job, but you were still a total dick. And I've seen them be absolutely awful. I've been on the phone with people who call from the scene and heard it. And so, as usual, Tucker Carlson is a fucking idiot. And, I'm a white guy. I have sat around enough Thanksgiving dinners with family members. White people are going to white people, and he just gets paid a lot of money for it. And many of us in our families don't agree with what our families are doing, but it's beaten into us that you somehow need to show up and support your family no matter what. And it is seems a little wrong to help perpetuate a racist system that we all benefit from. It just bothers me. And so it has not made me popular with a lot of my family members. I mean, my stepdad gets really he just gets all okay, Matt, whatever. I'm like, look, fucker, you finish high school or tell me what book you've read since 1974 and then we'll talk.
We are approaching our first hour, so that's exciting. We have one more hour left. So all of you who are here, thank you for being here. We've had great conversations so far. We'll see what this last hour takes us, where it takes us. Again, if you want us to talk about anything, just leave it in the comments or interact with us if you want. I had a hard
sound
time.
off on something we're saying.
Yes. I had a hard time not getting more animals this weekend.
I've been kind of wanting another kitty, and I'm saying this softly. David hears it. He's gonna burst in here and not get me a third drink.
Today we went to go to a nursery because we're trying to find another tree to put in the backyard, and so we were just gonna go check it out, ask some questions and whatnot. And so I was trying to find some older photos of the backyard when it had a tree because we had to cut it down because it got a disease. And so I tried to find some older photos, some newer photos. And we were wanting to show them the space to get an idea of what we could handle as far as a tree and how big it could be or what would fit right. And going through the photos, I saw photos of the cat that used to come that we named Anastasia, and she was so beautiful. She was black and white.
Whatever. She's our neighbor's cat, right?
I don't know. I don't know. She stopped coming. It was so sad. And I was like, oh my God, she's so pretty. She had like a bi-colored nose, and she was just the most beautiful cat. And anyway, so I saw that photo, and I was like, oh. And Justin was like, I don't know why we didn't bring her inside because we should have, but we didn't.
I was surprised. Well, she might have been somebody's pet, though.
Yeah, we obviously would have done the same thing like we did with Salem. We would have went and got checked to see if she has a microchip and whatever. But then we also saw photos going through the backyard pictures. We saw pictures of Salem when he first arrived. And then obviously Sophie, who is the newest black cat, we think is the litter mate of Salem. Some of her first photos of when she first started coming into the yard. I'm going to pull up in a second the picture of Anastasia. She was the most beautiful cat. And she had the most beautiful eyes, flowing fur. It was just like, you were a perfect little cat.
She's a pretty kitty.
She really was. And here she is. Those eyes get me every time. She was so sweet and so loving. But we went to the feed store to get chicken feed. And what did they have there? Oh, ducks.
Oh. I really like rabbits and chinchillas and ducks and everything, and I just keep telling myself, no, you're trying to go to nursing school. You're not going to have time for this. So when I officially become Nurse Matt, there's probably going to be a small zoo at the house. But I have to say, I've really enjoyed just having 2 kitties.
And then made chickens. Not that I need more chickens, but when I have the compound, the land, we'll have ducks, and it's going to be so fun.
Our cat has
I can't wait.
taken refuge on David, or Ava has. So David is unable to get me a third drink, so I may have to get it up.
Oh no!
Itself. And I don't know if that's a good idea because there are some
Oh
stairs
no.
between me and the kitchen. So I will be RB. Johnny,
Keith
Matt needs
says.
another drink. Oh, and another kitty. No, Keith, I do not. David, if David hears that, he'll kill me.
Another drink and another kitty.
Oh,
Yes.
God. So when
You know,
pre-pandemic, we would spend time with Keith every Saturday, and he has his own kitty that he adopted that was kind of a neighborhood cat that has become his. He's a beautiful
mhm.
orange kitty, and we love hanging out with him and the kitty when we go see them. It's taken a few years, but his name is Kitty. Kitty comes and hangs out with us. He will sometimes let us pet him. He's very friendly. I think he was feral for a long time, so he doesn't really like being held. So, but you can pet him, and obviously he loves food. David and I got him the scratching post for Christmas a few years ago, and he ruined it. So he loved it. So I will be right back. I have to go get a.
Okay, a
I'll mute
third drink
myself.
from Matt. Oh, dang it. It's unfortunate. So while Matt is going to get a drink, just remind everybody that you can always leave a comment in the chats. Be sure to also follow us on all of our social media: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. We're even on Twitch. I know Matt has talked about starting to play some games, and we can all join in and watch him play games. So we'll see if he actually does that. Um, let's see what we can talk about. Oh, one thing that we did talk about on Friday, if you weren't here, I know there's more of us here tonight, but there is going to be, Virginia has legalized marijuana, which I think is just great. They became the 16th state here in the United States to legalize marijuana. That's for anyone 21 years and older to possess at least 1 ounce or less, and they can grow up to 4 plants starting July 1st. It's probably how you're going to have to get it right now, though. You're going to have to grow it yourself because they're not going to have commercial operations starting until January of 2024. So you're going to have to get it by other means, I guess, which is kind of crazy to legalize it. But then, like, where do you get it? So you're going to have to grow your own, I guess, or go to another state or whatever. So I thought that was some a good law that came out. We've had a lot of laws passed by state legislatures recently that have just not been great laws. And so this was one that came out this past week that was just like, okay, that's a law I can get behind. Because we were talking about how on Friday that I am a big proponent of marijuana. So that was really exciting news that came down this week. And the other good thing about this, not only will everybody get to get it if they want it for recreational use, it's going to expunge the records of those who may have been sentenced to prison time because of possession, which, as we know, uh, usually ends up hurting black people a lot more than white people, because white people just usually don't get arrested for something like that, or at
It's
least
true.
sent to prison.
Also true. Am I unmuted? Oh, good. I'm unmuted. Let's see. Did I miss anything? Cut Matt's mic while he's on. Yeah, that's a good plan. I muted my own mic, but it is a good idea. If you notice me rubbing my head, I've had a massive sinus headache all day that has just increased in power. So I'm currently ignoring it for the next 45 minutes. Then I'm going to drink lots of water and hopefully sleep.
So how much alcohol did you put in it this time?
I ended up not making it. When I opened the door, Ava jumped off David, so he made it for me while I went to pee. And now we know that I go to
that's sweet.
Yes. No, David's a really good human. He takes really good care of me. Like we do tease each other. If you ever hear us in public, we sound like we roast each other, but like in the most playful of ways. We never take it too far. Because there's certain things that just we don't find offensive to each other. So like that's kind of what we go with. But there are like lines. There's things we don't say to each other. And I'm not going to repeat some of the jokes we say because they would be offensive to time and place, it would be upsetting or frustrating or distressing to some other people. So, sorry,
I think you poured the rest of the bottle in.
he said there's plenty left, but he said this might be my last drink, and I was like,
Dun dun
good.
dun. I really need to get our soundboard soon. Soon I'll have a soundboard for us.
Oh, I don't taste. David said he can smell it before he even stirred it. And I was like, oh, well, I don't smell anything. I don't taste anything. Oh shit.
I just got it the other day, but there's the new ginger ale that came out. It's called Bold Ginger Ale. Oh my God, it is so good so I love ginger ale. A lot of restaurants around here have ginger ale, but it's not like the name brand like Canada Dry or whatever. It's like real ginger ale that burns your throat as you're drinking it. Like that, this comes very close to it. Like I love ginger ale that just burns your mouth, your lips, your throat. Oh, it is so good.
You sadist.
It's like ginger shots. Have you done ginger shots? Oh,
no. In
that'll
college, I
get
remember
you.
drinking Flaming Dr. Peppers, but because the first guy I ever dated was actually a bartender. Orlando was a wild time. I'm sure it's hard to imagine for anybody that really spends any time talking to me to ever imagine me being out and about in Orlando, Florida, just doing my thing. And by Orlando standards, I was very meek and mild.
Well, you know who wasn't mild in Orlando?
You?
Miss Minnie Mouse herself.
I'm surprised you didn't want us to do the WAP dance or something as a Coma Cast challenge. I would have paid money to see you do it, Cody. Straight up, I would have swiped my card for it.
Jonathan says, if your mouth is burning, you may want to see a doctor. The burning is great. The ginger shots, though, goodness. I'll take you when you come, Matt. We're gonna go to the juice shop because that's what we do here. We're gonna go to the juice shop.
Your accent makes things 100 times funnier sometimes.
And we are going to get you. I need a California accent.
Oh no, you don't. Oh God, no, you don't. There's enough. Love you, California
so we'll get
boys.
you.
You're beautiful, but you don't need it.
I'm gonna get you a ginger shot. Ginger shot when you come.
Am I even gonna remember?
It burns
this
so
trip?
good. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a hot tub show.
Oh yeah, that's right. We are.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
That's probably gonna be really popular. I have new swimwear arriving this week or next week, so I'm super excited because Aussie had a huge sale. So David ordered some stuff. I picked out a few things. He's like, I got a pair for you that I think you're gonna really like. I'm like, I'm gonna really like, or you really want me to? And which is I'm okay with because I should be able to work out for longer than 15 minutes without having hot flashes and feeling like I'm going to vomit and faint, which has been my experience for the last months.
Yeah, I guess I need to get swimwear.
Do you even wear swimwear?
I don't wear swimwear in the hot tub. No.
Yeah. So for I know it's gonna disappoint everybody, but for our live, we have to wear something, and it might be our most popular episode ever. But yeah, we will have our Texas Cody, not showing off his West Texas panhandle. See what I did there?
Yeah, no, I and then when I go to the beach, I only have little short shorts.
Okay, but you look super cute in them because you got this little muscular body, even though you're like, oh, I never work out. I'm like, what the? I'm killing myself on a Stairmaster to make sure my cardio stays clear so I don't die of an asthma attack. And you're all like, oh, look at me, just aging like fine wine. And I'm like, hi, bag of milk over here.
I
I feel
do.
like,
I
literally,
do.
like I feel like a carton of milk sometimes.
Oh my God. I do want to get like my beach body. I do want to have like my abs and like all that kind of stuff.
Oh, I
But
don't give a shit
it's
about
hard to
that.
get. Oh, I want that. I want that, and then I want to like be eating a donut on the beach for everybody.
You know, a common misconception is that people that have abs and everything, I see, you know, something that actually makes me mad. I don't like, so before I say this, I think that if you have a body, you can go to the beach and there's your beach body. I don't care about things like that. But a common misconception I get that really makes me mad because people do it for clicks and likes, not because they have any sort of fucking knowledge about health, is that they'll be like, I could have abs, but I like donuts too much. Okay, yes, it is true that a large part of having a certain physique or whatever your goals are or what you idealize has to do with, you know, how you eat. Obviously, abs are made in the kitchen, especially after your metabolism slows down. And mine has fallen off a cliff and apparently has a DNR on it. But I absolutely, even when I have abs and I'm trim, I am absolutely like pizza, Chinese, and donuts. And it's not because I have a great metabolism. It's because I maintain a routine and I don't eat pizza every single day. And I know the people posting that are also not eating pizza every day. How do I know that? Because I can also read their Twitter and I know they are also broke as fuck and you cannot afford that much pizza every day. So I know you're not eating like that. You're doing this for clicks and likes. Just say you want to eat what you want and move on. Yeah, see, Cody's like cute as fuck. And I'm over here
This
like,
is a donut.
this is a
This
donut.
is the body. This is my donut diet.
This is Cody post this. You guys, I just cleaned my room. Post this. You guys
Oh
like
my
my
God,
new
I feel like
shirt?
I should sell. I feel like I should sell this as a poster.
I touch myself to it.
Oh my God, I should. I'm gonna turn this into a poster. And I'm gonna send it to you,
Great.
and then you can hang it up
I'll
on
hang
your
it on my
wall.
wall.
I'm
No, what I'll
talking
do is I'll hang it
movie
behind
size
here.
poster.
That'll be really funny. We'll send each other ridiculous pictures that we turn into posters, and we'll hang them behind us for like, and we'll change them up intermittently and see how long it takes people to notice. It's each other. It's us on each other's walls. Sorry if I'm slurring. Alcohol is getting a little strong.
Jonathan commenting.
Cody
Cody
knows he
knows
has a
he has a
cocky
cocky
boys
boys.
body. Oh yeah, we know. Yeah, I when I first met Cody, I was like, I was intimidated. I was literally intimidated because here's this like cute ass guy, and he's like wants to talk to me, and I'm like, huh? You know, like, and he's all like cute and popular, and he's like, oh my god, hi, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I took the opportunity to finally like have an excuse to DM him with pick a number thing or whatever, and you know, um, and Cody's over there like, hi, I'm timeless and ageless, and one of my books might be about vampires and people that don't age, but what you guys really don't know is it's me secretly spilling Cody's secrets.
um, we actually uh I feel like I was gonna do it tonight actually, but then I ended up not getting everything ready. But I feel like one Sunday night I'm just going to I think there you were frozen for a second and it was like, whoa, where'd he go? Um, um I feel like it always freezes like when you're in the most awkward position.
Huh? Yeah.
I remember I didn't realize I froze one time and you're like, yeah, you were frozen like a lot and at least it wasn't a crazy position.
Yeah, you were
But I
luckily in a
thought about
normal looking position.
I thought about that I should, because me and you have talked about it a lot, but like talk about like what I do, my skincare routine, and I just do my skin routine for everybody.
That would be fun. Johnny Apollo says, "Funny, I felt the same when I first started talking to you," and I think that's always so interesting because I don't look the way I did as a teenager because of having so many surgeries. So although I am aware of what I look like now, because I've looked like this for a larger part of my life, being so ultra skinny and underweight that if you saw me without a hoodie, I literally looked ill, because I guess I kind of was. It just would blow my mind, because people actively avoided talking to me in middle school and high school until after my nose job. And then it had the opposite effect. It was people started acknowledging my existence, and it caused me more stress, because I realized how quickly people were only speaking to me because they deemed me pretty enough to talk to or give the time of day to. So I really developed this
Yeah.
attitude of, when people interact with me, if I feel that would not have talked to me pre-surgery, or I see how they interact with others, I will go ahead and block or mute them, because I don't want them even in my DMs. I don't want them talking to me, because I'm not going to tolerate somebody shit talking how another person looks, because you can't control that. You can control being a huge bitch. You cannot control what you were born with, and people get really shitty about people's teeth and their skin, and sometimes you just can't help things. Braces are expensive. I had Medicaid. David didn't fix his teeth until a few years ago, and it's been like, he used to never smile, and because he's self-conscious about it, and now it's done, and he has really pretty teeth. But people don't understand. And actually, it's funny, the whole thing on teeth, I read a whole thread from it was from, I think, British Twitter, about how Americans' obsessions with straight white teeth. And I was like, look, there's a lot of things to criticize us for. Dental hygiene, come on. Like, if that's something you think we obsess over or want for ourselves, then I think really go with the racism, go with the prejudicial system, go with the profiling, go with our terrible healthcare and
Yeah.
terrible dental care system, because most people don't know how any of their insurance works. And so I'm just like, oh, come on, like, that's the thing. Now,
I mean, dental hygiene is good to have. I
but it
know
is
it can be expensive.
expensive. Oh, it just is. And I know my teeth are nice now, but what people don't know is that every 3 to 5 years, I have to spend $5,000 to $7,000 to have my teeth. Like, all these are a bridge and this is a cap, in order for it to match the others. I don't have bone or a tooth here. So for everybody, when people compliment me on it, I'm like, I appreciate it, but just so you know, this isn't real, because they had to saw down a bunch of my teeth to give me an even
Yeah.
look. It's mostly for
No,
aesthetics. I would not recommend it if you don't need it. Get braces if you have to pick something.
yeah.
Oof.
It's incredibly expensive in any kind of issue, but it's interesting that that's what they were talking about.
Right. There are so many things
Because
to criticize us for. Like, oh,
I
LOL,
mean,
they drive on this side of the road. Their steering wheels are
I
on
would
this
say
side of
that's
the
a
car.
good thing.
Right?
It's a good thing that we maybe focus on, because I guess if you do tend to have crowded teeth and you do have the opportunity to get them fixed, it's good. Just not that they don't look. They obviously look better. That's what we represent as looking good as straight teeth. But as far as like just being able to clean your teeth, it's easier when you can easily access your teeth. And so for them to criticize that, it's just like such a funny thing, because either you're going to get cavities and that's going to cost a lot of money, or you
Right.
have to get braces. That's going to cost a lot of money. It just costs a lot of money in
Well,
all
a
sense
lot
of
of people
things.
have dental insurance and don't know how to use it. So they don't know what it means. And I do. So if you have dental and you don't know what to do with it, come to me. I will show you how it works. I will tell you what all the words mean, because I'm trained. It's not just from experience. I was a healthcare benefit specialist for United Healthcare. And also I have a certification in coding and billing. So I have a good 50 or 60 credits plus an externship, and I graduated with that. Yeah. Oh, Johnny Paul, I remember when you posted a thirst trap a long while ago, then followed it up with all the surgeries you've gone through, and I gained a lot of respect for you that day. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot, actually. I think it's important. A lot of people, like, a lot of the athletes we see that post, we all know, most of the time when we're talking about the muscle boys, we're talking about the douchebag ones. We're talking about the ones that say nasty things to people for no reason, would never even talk to somebody. They assume that everybody that talks to them wants inside of them, or blah, 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 but I get so frustrated at those guys specifically, because very likely, even if they were born with a predisposition to that body type, it is not easy to get to that and maintain it past like 25-ish. So talk to us when you're 25 to 30 and see if you're still hanging on to that discipline. And I've always been a big proponent of realism, like realistic athletics, meaning like, the average person cannot work out 5 days a week and eat a perfectly balanced diet. The American system is not set up for us to take care of ourselves that way. I push more for eat realistically, don't drink. If you like soda, try not to drink a whole 6-pack of them in one day. I'm sorry, I'm hiccuping. It's the alcohol, and it's more like, don't cut out every single thing you love, but learn to moderate it. But on that, some people cannot moderate. There's certain things that I love so much that if they're in the house, I will eat all. If I eat one, I eat all of them. So I just don't buy them. So I had to cut those things away, but that's how I did it. I know myself. But that doesn't apply to everybody. Everybody has their own situation with how their body works and what it reacts to. Some people absolutely cannot skip certain things because they might be diabetic, or they might have some kind of condition or a medication that interacts with those things. So it's important that when people throw out their bullshit advice, which mostly it is bullshit, about how to take care of yourself, that you stop and consider that you need to make sure you're acknowledging every single person has their own battle. You have no idea what it's like to get up and look at the mirror. For that person to get up and look themselves in the mirror every single day.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard. I can tell you that as a middle school and high school student, many times I looked in the mirror, I redrew my own face so many times on paper, hoping that it would look different one day. And I got lucky. I had no idea a nose job was included in my surgeries. I just went for my annual checkup with like my team of like 12 cleft palate doctors. I'm like, hey, so at the end of 10th grade, we're gonna go ahead and break your nose and fix it for you. And I'm like, wait, I'm in 10th grade. This is in 2 months. But that is not normal. That is absolutely not normal. So it's so important that if you're complimenting somebody, look past and see what they're saying. I did a whole thread where I talked about all my scars. And that was really fun. I think I traumatized a whole bunch of people, but I've seen fisting on my main account at 2 p.m. So you guys can handle some scars on my ankles. Like certain trigger warnings, I'm like, I read your tweets. You're doing this for attention. But yeah, I even did one where I posted like my eyebrow because I busted it open when I was 10. Not cleft related, user error. I kicked my IVs out of my ankles when I was 2 during a surgery. They put IVs in and they forgot to restrain my little toddler legs. And I kind of, how you kick your shoes off? If you kick your shoes off, I did that basically with IV. So I kicked them out. Instead of pulling them out, they got kicked out the opposite way and just tore my little ankles up. The scar on my left ankle is worse than the right one just looks like a straight line. The left one, it looks like I literally just tore a chunk of skin out. I've only seen one picture of it, but they have my legs like bandaged up from like my shins to my toes, and it looks so bad. I'm sure on my little 2-year-old legs it looked, awful, but by the time I was old enough to remember, I'm like, Mom, what's on my ankles? And she's like, well, let me tell you, you little shit, what you did. Things like that.
User error.
Yeah, user error. So, we all have scars. We all have these things, and we all have, like basically what we use to cope with the world. Like for me, the gym is a way to help combat the symptoms of whatever's wrong with me. Diet and exercise are the key to making me not hurt physically full time. So, the byproduct is what my body kind of looks like. So what I did was I just kind of set goals for myself to kind of focus on that, not that, oh, I'm doing this because my joints hurt every single day, to like an 8 out of 10 if I don't exercise. Cody, you've now been my friend for a couple of years. You've now experienced what it's like when I can't work out for months, and where I end up having to delay recordings because I can't really get up. or it hurts too much to sit and interact because all I can think about is how much I hurt and I can't distract myself. So, it's a fun existence, but when you post about it, I think being open about it is helpful because I'm not the only, there's like 8 billion people in the world. I'm not the only person I'm not the only person who lives and struggles with it. So I think it's important to post it out there for every person who may not have any idea what's wrong with them and are just like living their life trying to like take care of themselves. And they're like, oh shit, I have no idea how insurance works. People make fun of my teeth. I don't have the body I want. Does anybody have the body they want? Like, but on the dental thing, like we were talking about a few minutes ago with your teeth, this is the one bit I will say, do not get your teeth capped unless you have to. Unless there's something wrong with your teeth, that you've chipped them, broken them somehow, don't do it. Because once you've done it, you cannot undo it. And your teeth will be forever likely sensitive to hot things, cold things, chewing. You will always know your tooth is a little different. And I am aware of it every single day. But I know a lot of people do it for aesthetics because obviously if you get your teeth straightened or even, they might have been damaged before you even got them straightened. So you might end up with like, oh, you have straight teeth, but they're not lined up. Your dentist or orthodontist will shave your teeth. It takes 30 seconds. They will literally go through and shave off the edges and clean them up. That is great. Having an even bite, perfect. But being like, you know what? I don't like these teeth. I want them capped. That way I never have to worry about them going bad. Nay. Don't spend the thousands of dollars on that. Donate it to somebody who needs dental care. Take your friend to the dentist and get their braces or something. Do not shave your damn teeth down at 23 or even 33 if you don't have to. I will have to have this redone. It is painful sometimes. I'll get jolts of pain through it. Sometimes even when we've done recording, you'll see me like kind of twitch. It's because a jolt of pain went through the nerve and I'll feel it like up to my eye. And it's a risk you take. Now, I needed it because the teeth next to it were failing because I'm missing so many parts. But, people get talked into these things, Cody. Like and I understand you want nice, pretty teeth and hey, a few $100s to have a tooth done. Why the fuck not? But if you can save and have your own teeth, you're going to be so much happier with how they feel because you can't test run a new tooth. Once you've done that, you can't take it back. It's not like this tattoo that if I ever hate it, I can have it lasered off, But no, I'm not going to have that lasered off. The Slut Dragon is here to stay. Which is also going to be the name of my publishing company one day. Slut Dragon Publishing.
Look at you, all your plans.
I
have about 30 minutes left. Tonight's going by so quickly.
Oh my God.
As always, just remind everybody.
But I think it's the alcohol.
As always, we're going to remind everybody, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. And Matt, I was mentioning we're also on Twitch, and at some point you may play games for us to watch you on Twitch.
Yes, I am. I got Dead by Daylight finally. I also learned that one of my mutuals who I just adore, I don't want to throw his, again, I'm not going to throw his name out here because I don't have his permission. I haven't talked to him about it, but he was playing earlier and being a good friend, I supported him and I looked at his gamer tag. I'm like, oh, that looks familiar. I play World War Z a lot. And a while back I was playing it and I saw that gamer tag and I'm like, that looks so familiar. And I kept asking David, where have I seen this? And he's like, I don't fucking know. We talk to each other like, if you see us talk like that, I'm like, babe, where's this from? I don't fucking know. Jesus. But
the thing is, when you say stuff like this, I hear it in his voice.
Yeah. We have very distinct voices, and so he has a way of he might mumble sometimes, but he gets his point across. But it turned out that person it was that person. They were playing World War Z on like a Game Pass. The game happened to be there. So I was super excited to find out because he was like, oh, I'll play with you on that. So I said, okay, well, I'll play Dead by Daylight with you. I did get it last week, and I'm super excited to play it. I'm going to play it offline. I'm going to play it by myself for a bit so I can learn the controls and scare the hell out of myself alone. before I do it live. But do y'all think that's
I
something
mean,
you would
that's
have
the
fun
fun
with?
of it. We want to see you get scared, Matt.
Oh no, I'm all about being scared for you guys. It's fine. I just mean like learning the controls to make sure like I'm not stumbling through it because it's more fun when I'm not stumbling through the controls and just crying.
We start getting messages. Matt's just breaking down. Is he
Oh yeah,
okay?
that would be like the
It's like, I
best.
don't know.
Can you just imagine, like, oh my God, Cody, get him one of your mints. Is he okay? And you'd be like, ha 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 ha. Ha. I feel like you'd be laughing your ass off, like figure pyramid of doom,
Really,
laughing at me. You're like, what am I supposed to do about it? Pops a mint.
I do. I haven't had one of my mints in a while.
You've been
Um,
remarkably, you know what? I've noticed actually, the last few weeks you've had really done really well. And I don't know if that's because out of being a good friend to me, because I have been like here with my anxiety and my meds going all wrong. Is that it? Where
well,
you like just kind of like trying to take it easy on me?
2 weeks ago, the first week we didn't do any podcast
Yes.
during the week. I was stressed that week.
Yeah,
That was
we
the
were
week that
actually
I was
both
getting my
having
vaccine.
independently awful weeks.
Um, yeah, no, the last 2 weeks have been like really good. Like I haven't had any sinus issues because I get a lot of sinus issues sometimes in the spring, and there's been a lot of pollen, and I obviously work outside a lot, and so it's a lose-lose situation, but I have to deal with it, and I deal with it, and it usually is okay. But then there was stress with the vaccine issue because things were getting delayed and whatever. But
Oh, when you
yeah, no,
told
the
me you
last two
got
weeks have
delayed
been
three
really,
days, I
really
wanted to
good
just like I wanted to hibernate till Friday because when you
because
texted
like I needed it.
when I got your text, I read it out loud to David, and David's like, "So you're gonna just kill yourself, or you think you're gonna make it to Friday with Cody?" And I'm like, David is so aware of our dynamic that he knows that we kind of take turns being crazy, right? We take turns with each other, being like, "Hi, I am over everything today. I need you right now to just help." But he gets
Yeah.
it. Like he always gives me that space to he never like when you're having a really bad day and you just want to talk to me, he's never had a problem with it. When I'm having a really bad day, you're always like, "It's okay, babe, let's talk about it. Like, are you okay?" And I'm like, I just
David's like, "Oh, finally take him, go."
yeah. Your turn. Some weird ass
No,
custody
it's been
arrangement.
great. Um, like speaking of games, I know we were talking the games there for a sec. Um, Apple, everybody knows I'm an Apple hardcore Apple fan. Um, but they just released some new games for their Apple Arcade, which I am a subscriber to. We're subscribers. Basically, every service that Apple offers, we're subscribers. I will say, they do have a family plan. It's like called the Apple One plan, I believe, and it includes Apple Arcade, Apple News Plus, uh, uh, music, the whole music plan, and iCloud space, 2 terabytes of iCloud space, but for the whole family. But so Apple Arcade released some new games, and one of them I know I was so excited about, and I just heard about it and I downloaded it. I haven't even got to play it yet, but it's Oregon Trail. Now I was obsessed with the Oregon Trail when I was in elementary school. Like that was so fun because uh, and we would go, and our computer lab was all Apple computers, and
That was ours.
this was uh, like early '90s, and so like it was kind of almost rare for computers, really, and so
I
it was
remember
always
us
fun.
having a
We'd go
couple
like,
computers, and we had Oregon Trail, and we never had enough computer time to play it all the way through. And I
uh,
always wanted to.
oh, that's so frustrating. Yeah, we would have like computer days like once a week or something, and it was a whole computer room. So there was like, I don't know, 20 computers. So we each got a computer. And when I was in the computer lab, I remember I would always do Oregon Trail. And thankfully, we did have enough time to finish it. I would have been so mad. And I would also do this thing, basically, uh, it's paint on Windows computers now, but it was a program called KidPick. And it was basically you just write and draw and do
I
all these,
remember that oh
basically
my
paint.
God.
But
Unrepressed
it was so
memories.
fun. Man, I'm
And
just unearthing all of this.
and also everyone, I
Um,
want to say
but
Cody's usually does our announcements, throughout the thing. I want to say thank you for everybody that has joined us, because I know we are kind of getting closer to ending, and that you've tolerated me just drinking my way through this podcast. And I am fairly tipsy at this. It's Cody's having the best time right now. This is the only time you've ever seen me drink. I think ever. You might get
I
a
mean,
text from
like
me
in
when I'm
real
drinking.
time.
Yeah, I might text you and be like, "Oh, I'm just having a drink with David," but like a drink with dinner, like glass of wine level. This is the
Yeah.
only time you would have ever seen me like just.
I mean, we've never been on video for extended periods. Even before this, we didn't go extended periods like we do now. Um,
Yeah, we only
so
talked on
Oregon
Facebook
Trail,
twice before we did this.
yeah, it's so crazy, right?
Yeah, sorry, back to Oregon Trail. I love
Um,
the game.
Oregon Trail. So it's on Apple Arcade now, and so I don't know how much. I don't know if it's only on Apple Arcade and you had to be a subscriber to get it or not. I'm not sure about that. But they have Oregon Trail on it and they've redone it. And they do have a disclaimer at the beginning of it, and I'll read it real quick because I thought it was interesting, and it says, in creating this new game in the beloved The Oregon Trail series, we were determined to better depict Native American perspectives. For indigenous people westward, expansion was not an adventure, but an invasion. Recognizing this complex history, we have collaborated with the Native American scholars to bring a new level of respectful representation to the game. For the first time, the game features Native American playable characters and stories celebrating the history and culture of the peoples who first lived on this land and still live here today. And then
Okay,
you tap
that
to
is
continue,
amazing.
and it plays the whole game, or you can play the whole game. But yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, and you know how I know why I know that's amazing, and it also. Okay, I'm definitely heading towards drunk level. So be holy shit! It just like hit me like a train. A certain kind of train, Cody. Um,
Super late night
super late
has
night.
commenced.
That even this inebriated as I am, my first thought was like, "Wow, that is amazing," and I need to look into that. And I can you do me a favor and just text that to David? I'm not going to be able to explain myself in about 10 minutes to him
Text the
because
Oregon Trail.
yeah, please do, because he'll know what it means. We actually bought the card game a few months ago that you like playable
Okay.
adventure,
Yeah.
and the makers
Yeah.
even say you die a bunch of times. But my point is that through all of this, hearing all of that, my first thought is that's fantastic, because a lot of these games based on the Old West were incredibly racist, and they come from a prejudicial system, and how it Johnny, that's quite a throwback. You picture a sixth grade me at a skating rink to that song. Hilarious stories. Um, that my first thought is to say, wow, that is amazing. That is great. And a lot more games. I hope that when we see revivals of these things in the coming years, that they do that. And besides, it also adds several more layers to the game, because
Hmm.
sometimes games do emulate real life, like Oregon Trail. It's meant to kind of gently let you play along and of what life was like.
Yeah.
Well, there were more perspectives than the simple pioneer person that immigrated from, Baden-Württemberg, aka my family. Um, and so I think that's really interesting. And yeah, and drunk, I even think, wow, we're racist as fuck, and I'm so glad that there's been some kind of changes. So when people are like, "Oh, I got drunk and said, or I did a racism," no, you are racist, and your alcoholism let it out. God,
Exactly. I always get so like annoyed when people say that. I was like, when you're drunk, it just relaxes you and it just flows out. It's
right?
always there. It doesn't create it.
Yeah, like, have you ever
And
taken
not even
Ambien
racist
before?
things.
Like, when
No,
I
I'm
took
not.
Ambien, I
But
certainly didn't say racist things to people. I kind of just went to sleep and apparently jerk off or touch myself in my sleep. Or if you sleep in my bed, I will
oh
try to do things with
wow.
you. Oh yeah, I have a major problem with that.
Wait,
I will.
so I think I'll have some Ambien available when you visit. Um
Oh
I
yeah,
lost my train of thought.
got all excited about the Ambien and the train. An Ambien train. That sounds like, you know what that's an Ambien train. It sounds like a white lady rager on a Wednesday afternoon. Like the bridge party gone wild.
hmm Oh, it just popped back in my head. So yeah, when you are drunk, not just racist things, but just anything, you speak what you're thinking. So
It's really
even if you
unfortunate.
say something like,
I'm really afraid to watch the
like
playback
if
of this
Matt didn't
tomorrow.
like my sweater, if Matt didn't like my sweater, he would by now have told me probably.
Oh my god, I definitely would have. And I love your sweater. But normal me would not come out and pick at people's clothes or things like that because that's not something I do. So drunk me doesn't do it either. Now, if you said something shitty about what I was wearing, then I'm going to observe and hit back because I when in real life I think in Hammurabi's code, drunk me acts it out. So if you say something about my hideous shirt, I'll be like, oh, so bear shit on your chest, or is it just a shirt? Like, what's going on over there? You know, like
Matt, what is up with your shirt?
it's on, and I don't feel like taking
Oh
it
my
off.
God, it's on. It's on still. You have a shirt still on.
Are we talking about how?
Um,
Oh, you can see my tattoo. I just realized in the top corner of it. Oh, speaking of tattoos, I meant to text you earlier. So for my birthday, I'm gonna go ahead and get another tattoo. And I'm gonna
mm,
get it on this side, and it's going to be. This is actually a slightly sentimental moment. So my mom used to send me when she would write letters. My mom loves to handwrite letters still. So when she would write them, her name is Valerie. They would say a letter for Valerie because that was the stationery that they came from. So on the front, the whole top of it was like foliage and flowers, and the bird on the front was a hummingbird. So I still have one
mm,
of the letters she sent me years in, had to have been in high school. So I'm gonna have the hummingbird tattooed on my chest, and then the foliage tattooed
mm.
across. Like I don't want it across here because I don't want to have my collarbone tattooed. Because FYI, having your collarbone tattooed hurts like all hell. But I want the foliage to go kind of like to be some of a sleeve because I'd like to have a quarter sleeve at one point.
Yeah.
Um, I know collarbones hurt because so when this was tattooed, I was tattooed laying flat on my back. So when I sat on my back, the skin where this wing is was my was on my collarbone. So he tattooed the top half of my collarbone initially when I was laying on my back because apparently my chest was big enough to move at the time. I did not know that. I unfortunately found out as he was tattooing the outline, and it hurt. It took 2 hours. David David got a tattoo from the same place a week later, which would be his third major tattoo. I have a small tattoo and then this bigger one. David has three large ones. And the third one he got was the largest. It was a giant, it's a giant hourglass on his right thigh. I think it's his right. No, it's his left leg. Oh my god, I can't remember. And
Oh my God.
oh yeah, definitely kind of drunk. Wow. But it took 3 hours and it was rough. We stopped at hour and a half because the guy was like, "Hey, we haven't had lunch yet." So they actually bought us lunch as a thank you for us being patient. But once you've stopped, your body becomes aware of what you're doing, and then it really started to hurt. Like they did my outline. I got up, went to pee, drink some water, and then went and lay back down. 3 minutes max. So filling it in didn't hurt. I felt it, but it didn't hurt at all actually. But at the end, they go back through with the outline gun and kind of touch it up. The needle is different than the one that fills it in. That was the only really painful part of the entire process, the last 3 minutes. Because he was like touching, and of course I'm not moving, but my left hand is like, oh God. Like I'm like squeezing the table, like, okay, I'm fine. I'm not gonna die. Ah, you know.
Thank goodness.
I can't wait to watch it. I'm actually afraid to watch this playback tomorrow.
Uh-oh.
Are you? Are you just excited?
No, I think it's fine. I think it's
Are
been
you having the
great.
time of your life watching this?
It's the time of my life. I'll just watch it on replays at night.
I sometimes have watched
Um,
them in like laying in bed trying to fall asleep. Like sometimes it can take me an
and
hour or
he's
two.
out immediately. He hears me and he's like,
Unfortunately not. Oh, David's out in 5 minutes, but If I know it's going to take me an hour or two to fall asleep, I'll lay there and watch maybe one of them because I try to regularly review them for audio issues or, if I'm doing repetitive motions that I try to control. And sometimes I'll hear something that came out of me and I'm like, why? And it's normally on this one. The Friday ones, I'm
It's
usually
super late night.
I'm pretty like, I'm good. But the Sunday ones, I'm like, why does he work with me? Like,
Well, I feel like we've gotten a catchphrase. Earlier, you were talking about a car accident, and you were like, "I'm gay and got rear-ended." I feel like that could be on the shirt.
hold on, I'll write it down. Let's see how I think about. Well, my favorite really is "Walk It Off, Grandma." So that one might be on coffee cups. Do you like that one?
Well, yes, but we can't just have one.
Yeah, I
We can
know. That's
have
just the first
like
one.
Matt's like, everybody, you have to get this one. This is the only one we're selling. Then after you purchase this one, you can purchase other things.
Right. It's like the unlockable one. Oh God. I'm so sorry
Uh,
to subject you
there
all
was
to.
another one. There was another phrase, but I forgot it. But it did come from you.
Oh God, I'm so sorry. Like, yeah, my favorite is only "Walk It Off, Grandma," because being raised by grandparents, I was closest with my grandma. So the most substantial conversations I would have had about things that bothered the family or things that happened would have come from her. And sometimes I
Mhm.
always listened respectfully because they were my parents and I always had a lot of respect for them. But it was just the things that they would
Yeah.
say, like, "Oh, well, this is really offensive when people do that. And we do it just because." And I'm like, "You say awful things to me at the dinner table, so you can't handle that?
Mm.
Oh, walk it off, Grandma." Because I have fallen down the stairs and you guys were like, "LOL, haha, you're fine." They didn't. I was only a couple of steps. So I tripped over the cat, and they didn't even. They were dying laughing until she came out to the door and was like, "Oh shit," and called for my grandfather and helped me get back inside. I mean, it's funny, but it does go both ways. So,
Yes.
when you tell your kid, rub some dirt in it, be prepared to hear "walk it off, Grandma." But I think we are almost we are coming
Yeah,
home.
we have about 10 to 15 minutes here left. Um, Matt, there is a few things that I did see that I need to show you. Um, we'll see how you react to this
Can I
because
have
we've talked
about
a lot about
30 seconds while you set that up because the cork has broken?
Oh no. Yes, you
I'm
can.
sorry, I can't
We'll allow it.
control it.
We'll
I'll be
allow it.
right back.
We'll allow it. I need to have like a bathroom break sign that we can just pop up on his screen when it's time for him to take a pause. I mean, he's had like 3 drinks tonight, so he has had a fun night. I've only been drinking. I drank some wine earlier. We did like a cheese board. If you were following me on Instagram and stuff, I posted it last night. But we did cheese boards and breads and had like honeycomb and wine, of course. So tonight we did the same thing again. I had some more wine. So I had wine earlier. So now I'm just kind of drinking some water and some ginger ale. But yeah, last night was that and a hot tub. And on Twitter, that's where we brought back up that like when Matt does get to come back, or we get to travel again, and Matt gets to travel out here, that we'll have to do an episode from the hot tub. I'll have to figure that out. I do have mics, boom mics, so we'll have to set those up since we can't have mics. And yeah, I think that will be a fun show, a hot tub show. Um, so we'll see. Maybe later this summer. I don't know. We'll see how things are looking with the vaccine. I know here in Southern California, I think we're reaching close to 30% vaccinated. So that's really exciting. I know California is going to be pretty good. Um, so that's hopeful. Um, but I'll be excited. I think in 2 weeks, week and a half ish, I get my second dose. I have the Pfizer vaccine, so I get my second dose of Pfizer vaccine. And then so after that, I guess 2 weeks after that, fully vaccinated then. So I'll feel a lot more relaxed. Um, but of course, still following the CDC guidelines and protocols to be safe. But I am looking forward to some maybe travel later this late summer, late fall. Okay, Matt. So
I'm ready. My body is ready. It's a fucking horrible temple that I live in.
so we think, when we think of animals, we know what a giraffe looks like. We know what a cat looks like. We know what a panda looks like, or a koala bear, or whatever. What if they look different than we know them as? What if
Oh
they
God.
actually look like? What if a giraffe looked like this? Like, what if that was just the giraffe look?
Oh no. I love face swap, but
Or a koala bear? Like, I mean, that could be
oh my God. It's like the Snuggles bear from the commercial. Oh my God.
a
Oh my God.
rooster.
If it looked like that, I would literally call that animal the pussycock. Ah!
Or
Can
a
I say
penguin.
the penguin? The penguissy?
I mean,
Sorry.
so many
So
options there. And look at
so
this, all the wrinkles on this one. Hippocat.
so I have a few for you, Cody. You're gonna have to put them up for me though.
Uh-oh. Matt's gonna
Mine
send
are
me some things to
mostly okay.
show.
Several of mine are dad jokes. One is a Prince Charles joke. Um, there's the Beetlejuice reference, but I'm not going to use that one. Let's see. I saved a dad joke from earlier.
So I was told to let you know that Justin apologizes that we did not get to see Beetlejuice this weekend. We ran out of time.
That's
But
okay.
that,
I know he bought it. He actually sent me proof that he bought it. Because you guys,
oh
Cody
my
hasn't seen
God.
Beetlejuice because he's a blaspheming sinner. Cody, I sent you. Oh wait, I didn't hit send. Oh my God. So these are the things I found. One of them I did send Cody. So you can obviously choose to post that one or not. But the other four he has not seen. And two of them are clips from Twitter. I left the names on them because I want to make sure that those people get credit for their joke, but it was dad jokes, and I saw them and started giggling while I was gaming earlier before I started writing and turned off the world.
So we'll get them set up, brought up, so everybody can see
This is essentially the
Matt's
equivalent of
finds.
What Gets Us Talking, but like the Sunday night edition. Also, I hope anybody
This,
who is still present that you guys are enjoying us being weird, and this is me being my semi-drunk self. I never really get to do this to this level, so this might be a normal thing, and I'm really sorry, but I can't go out right now, and I'm usually not very social, so here we are, me being drunk with you guys. Oh,
so
Cody,
first
I did.
up,
Oh, was it up? Okay, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so you guys know I talk about like my skin rash. Now, right now it's not super visible. I've been really good. Cody sent me some products this week, so I ordered one of them, the more expensive one, but because I think that one's gonna do the best because it also had the SPF 50. But it's to help even out my skin tone. Now, currently on camera, I'm pretty lucky; it hides a lot, but in person and up close, where even sitting and talking to me, you can see where I have my rash is very present, and I have really dark circles under my eyes full time. So I'm really excited to product test this and show you guys how beautiful I feel next week. Maybe it's
Ooh,
Maybelline,
exciting.
maybe it's
Yeah.
Cody sending me makeup products. Who fucking knows?
That's next week I'll do it. I'll go over all of the stuff that I use. I'm gonna send that to Matt too. My routine that I do because it's some basic stuff that's like really nice to keep your skin like
Okay, I
shiny,
am drunk.
soft.
It just like literally hit me. I went to like move and the world spun for a second. I'm like, okay.
Oh,
Anyway,
I
go
thought the
ahead.
world was spinning because you saw me.
It is. It's beautiful. I've never been so enticed. If you want to fly away on a dragon.
Oh, yes. So next week I'll show off some of the skincare products that I use. I'm gonna send that to Matt too. But it's just some cleansers and stuff, and like the spray that you can put on before you go out. And it just makes you feel so nice and perfect. Okay, so Matt sent some things to me. So here we go. So this is one of them. This is the whole like monarchy situation. Well, and then I haven't even really looked at these, so we'll pull up the next one. And this is Don Tops Be Like, and then it's a ride from Disney. This ride only stops in an emergency. Crying is not an emergency.
This is why tops don't have rights half the times, because they don't know how to listen. But I thought you'd find this really funny.
Does it only stop for emergencies?
Girl, ride me. You want to? Okay, I'm sure if you're in for a mediocre 7 minutes around the world, go for it. You know, like,
Oh my gosh! But you could.
I am not like blind about my sexual prowess and or lack thereof. It's not bad, but like I don't know. The whole when people are all like, "Oh yeah, you know, I'm gonna have you walking baby side to side." Okay, Ariana, Ariana Grande. This is more like a tall order. See, I got a Starbucks reference in there too.
Um, you could drink around the world.
I love doing that actually at Disney. But anyway, what did I send you a few more? Did they go?
Yeah, you did. You did.
Oh, yay.
Um, we have this one. Apparently, my aunt fell at a winery and got a concussion, so I said Sauvignon Blanc in the family chat, and no one acknowledged it. Oh, that's a good one, though. Sauvignon
And
Blanc.
the thread, if you guys get a chance, go and look at the thread. It is just literally filled with dad jokes, and I literally sat on the couch laughing for 10 minutes.
So go check out Aaron Tuning.
And if they turn out to be racist, I'm so sorry. I really hate it when you find something funny, and then later you find out that the person is an awful person. So as far as I know, I literally just saw this scrolling on my feed today, and I don't know who this person is at all. It was a retweet. I'm just saying, please
Well,
don't let them
we'll hope.
be a predator.
We'll hope. We have this one for Ashy Bear 12. Did you hear about the cheese factory that exploded in France? There was nothing left but debris. Thank you. Thank you. And then, well, this next one, Matt did send me earlier in the week. And of course, it has to be a cat, but anyway.
That's why I sent it to you.
Is that what you see, Matt? When there's a cat coming at you?
No, I was gonna say, like, well, I'm cut, and I think everybody here is. If anybody on here hasn't seen my dick, I'd be really surprised.
Okay, so
after the whole
I guess we went to
conversation,
this.
Go on.
We have officially entered the phase of the super late night where Matt's dick got brought up.
No, that's not. I've never even thought of that when I've seen uncut guys. And my first sexual experience with an uncut guy was the second dick I ever saw, like in person. So I knew what uncut was, and I've never fetishized one or the other because it's literally skin, and generally it's whatever. I don't care, but I didn't know. So when I by the way, I was 19. This was like 15 years ago. So we're like fooling around and everything, and I reached down his shorts because this is Florida, and when he was obviously hard, I went to jerk him off. Well, cut guys, when you jerk us off, like nothing moves. You just feel your hand on our dicks. But generally, uncut guys, you feel the skin, and it moved. It moved with my hand like a fleshlight, and I was really caught off guard, and I was like, my handbook for homosexuals did not prepare me for this. Was the first thought that went through my little teenager 19-year-old mind. And the guy was like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah." I mean, he's a super great guy, really nice. The only thing that wasn't nice was right when he got off, he jumped up and like shot in my face and got me in the face and neck and did not ask me first. And I was like, "Oh, um, maybe you could have asked me first. I'll call you later still, but can you maybe have asked before you did that?" But yeah, if you could just, if you know me and you can imagine me being like, "Oh, there's a lot more moving there than I expected."
Um,
Cody, if you can see your face, well, you
so
can't see your face right now.
you can see my face. So since Matt did bring up, this is not concerning him being cut, but we in previous episodes have talked about Neapolitan, and we've gotten some great tweets from some of you who've been watching our show. And we had one in particular, and I'll have to pull it just so we can keep it always safe. But it was like a Coma Cast starter pack, or like I forget how it was phrased, but basically like it had 4 pictures, and you get it if you listen to the podcast. Is
Oh
kind of what
yeah,
the point was, and if you know, you know, kind of thing. And it was
absolutely.
Neapolitan ice cream was with Neapolitan ice cream was one of those things. Uh, Neapolitan ice cream in reference to Matt. But that brings up, I was on TikTok and this guy talked about, because you can do this thing in like Procreate on the iPad. It's a drawing program where you
Great.
can animate and do all this kinds of stuff. But you can drag in a photo and it creates a color palette based on any photo you want. So if there's like a cool sunset photo, you can drag that in and it creates a color palette based on this photo. The guy on TikTok talked about how he drug in a picture of his thing
His
and it
thing.
created a
Okay.
color palette. It created a color palette based on his thing.
Oh my god.
So
What did you
should
do?
I make a color palette, Matt? And
Yes.
he was going to turn it in. He had color palettes and the exact color, because it will tell you, the color code. He was going to turn it into a makeup palette.
Well, we've
So
definitely found the
should I
Coma
do
Cast
it?
makeup palette. That's our newest branch. Oh my god.
Coming soon.
Oh my god. Oh, this drink's gone. Oh.
Oh my God, it's gone. And we have approached and surpassed our 2 hour mark. We just hit 2 hours and 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So
Which
it
works
is
because
time to
technically we
start
have a
wrapping up.
5-minute timer in a video.
hmm So we want to thank everybody who's joined us, as
Yes, we
always.
do appreciate it.
If you're not subscribed or fan or like the page, all the different phrasing for this, but we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch. So go like all those pages. Um, we love the support. As always, YouTube tends to be the best. I think most of you today have been on YouTube, but there have been a few people on Twitter. And you can, of course, go to YouTube, subscribe there, and click the little bell, and that'll get notifications. So anytime we go live, or anytime we post a video, it'll notify you that we have something new has been posted, or we are live. So that's always fun. Like if you want to know when we post our podcast episode videos and whatever, they're up there. We did. If you hadn't heard, if you joined us later in this show, we talked about it on Friday, and we talked about it a little bit at the beginning. But Matt, y'all know we're working on a show for Matt, but we have the idea, or we have the
Yes.
topic actually for our first season.
Yes, it's gonna be I almost said The Crown. Because I had a crown meme. That's what I wanted to send you. Cody, I'm gonna send this to you because it's really fucked up, but it was really funny to me. Hold on.
Okay.
I have it for you. It was intended to send. I thought I did. Um, so it's gonna be the royal family and the monarchy, not in an obsessive, uh, like fan of the royals way, but more of a historical aspect and a bit more of a deep dive because as we all, I'm gonna assume you guys know what the Revolutionary War was. And most of the people that do follow Coma Cast are American, so they know we live here and why and when we broke with Britain, or the UK for lack of better in the most simplest of terms. But there are some interesting deep dives I wanted to do, and I thought it'd be really interesting to kind of do kind of a couple of the royal family members, kind of like the core members, and what the monarchy means to them and us, and because there's obviously a fascination for it from us in the sense of, oh wow, princes and princesses are a thing there, but what does that really mean? Because it's this relic of the old world. And I'm sorry, I'm also drunk hiccuping like while I'm talking about this. So
Matt, who do you think would be the royal family of America? I
who
think it's the
thinks they're a royal
Kardashians,
family in
right?
America, or who really is a royal family in America? Or do you mean like, oh, the American royal family, and this is the first one that comes to mind?
Yeah, just
I would say the Kennedys. Now, as much bad luck as they've had, the Kennedys have quite an interesting reach. Presidential families do tend to have a long reaching, they have a long arm of influence. The Obamas,
yeah.
even like the Reagans, the Carters, depending on what they've chosen to do after their offices, a lot of them they're encouraged to do speaking engagements. So, for example, like we have, like Johnny said, the Obamas, Finn, they were a total about face as far as what was expected. Now, I've always thought that they have not received the same credit that, say, any other American presidential family would have received, but how highly educated both of the Obamas are, and that they raised their young daughters. Their young daughters grew up in the White House over 8 years, and they did not receive. It's kind of just like, well, okay. It's literally the biggest example to me of what, just to me, just as from observing the system we have, that it's the biggest example of what white privilege is. It's not saying that somebody who's accomplished the same, say, the next presidential family had the exact same accomplishments as Mr. and Mrs. Obama. It's that theirs are Mr. and Mrs. Obama's accomplishments are like, oh, well, yeah, they should have done all those things. And it's not really talked about, or anything they try to do with their educations and their backgrounds or speak on it or speak with it. They're like, oh, do they even practice anymore? It's been a long time since they were in school. Should we even really be listening? The questions you would hear, oh, I'm just criticizing an academic. I'm not racist. But if, any of the other families that heard that, or had those exact same things, and like the exact same Obamas did, they would hear, wow, what an accomplishment for them to have. Look at this educated first lady who not only has all of this, but she has set that aside to support her husband's career and everything she does to use her influence for good. You would just see there's such a difference in how these same two families are treated. So it's not saying that this
Yeah.
white family did not work hard. It's saying that they didn't have to work harder than the black family to be recognized for the exact same accomplishments if they did the exact same things.
Yeah.
I was almost going to use the Clintons for an example, but the Clinton scandals have obviously marred their relationship, at least in the public eye. I don't give a fuck because it's between them. And Hillary Clinton is incredibly accomplished, but it's interesting how every single thing that she has ever done is scrutinized or criticized, because there is not one person who's reached that age who has not done something questionable or something they regret or something that they're not, they might
Yeah.
cringe on.
I
But
mean, I
it's
think it's
only because
interesting
she's
when
a
you
woman that she's being questioned so
yeah.
hard.
I think it's interesting when if you look at presidential
Oh, and that
individuals
being
in the
true.
United States, and that we haven't had a lot, because of the way things are set up in 4 years, 8 years. So like younger people can go through periods of time where they only have been around for a handful of presidents. And so it is interesting because those are the ones you obviously remember in time, and going back in time, you know less about them. Like you said, the Kennedys more so.
Right.
But don't you think most of America would probably say it's the Kardashians? Anyways, this is what Matt had sent me to also speak up or post up. Netflix,
Ew.
the Crown team deeply saddened by Prince Philip's death, and then we have a shot from One Division.
I could have cropped this to crop off my mutual fleets. Sorry.
Whoops, there's that.
But no, I would not think of the Kardashians because they're fucking useless. I know they have a lot of influence in the sense that they have money and a platform, but you could literally replace them with anybody else, and who gives a shit? You know,
Matt, just
like,
remember how they became famous. We can do it.
yeah, there's plenty of video of me fucking on the internet, I'm sure. Actually, I know there is.
Then when
I posted them. See, here it goes. Cody, you and that apology video. Line up. My drunk ass is like, oh wow, that's a bad idea. See? My drunk ass still can't support them. Yep.
Jonathan's saying Cody Sweetie. No, I wouldn't say that. I would not say that.
What
But
would your answer
I
be?
feel so someone in America that would be more like royalty. I would say the Kennedys. I would say the
Oh, look
Kennedys.
at that.
Um,
We're on the same page.
I think because there's just like this like I obviously if you take a deep dive into things and more about policies or this or that, that can start whatever. But same thing like
Maybe
the
that'll
royal
be
family
season
in England.
two of Matt's show, which we
Oh, I
haven't
love the
named yet.
Kennedys.
I
No, we
think
have
the
not named
Kennedys
it.
are really fascinating.
I do love the Kennedys, but I think just the romance surrounding them and their family, and it continues with their offsprings and whatnot.
Wait, why did I
But
take the lead in the apology video race? I need to know, why did I
Jonathan
take the lead? I only said the
Jonathan
Kennedys because
says,
of the presidential,
ha,
obviously
no,
President Kennedy and Senator Kennedy was assassinated, or it was Robert F. Kennedy. I thought he was a senator at the time, but now I can't remember.
I think he's in referencing something else. I don't think it's because you said the Kennedys. I think it's I don't know. You said something. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's the Kennedys thing. We will stay tuned to Jonathan's answer on why Messy Matt has taken the lead for more clarification
Messy
for an
Matt. Oh
apology
God.
video.
You know what?
Um,
I'm gonna
uh,
write hashtag Messy Matt as one of the sayings.
I think that would be fun. That would be fun. Yeah, the T-shirt Messy Matt. So I would also say, and so again, this is not talking about policies or a
Look at my
lot around it
writing.
because if
It's
we,
like deteriorating as we go. Like, this has
it
become a
is.
struggle.
But obviously, the royal family, there's a lot of issues with the royal family as we come to find out. So this is nothing on that. But I would also say the Clintons, and I think in America we would say like a dynasty. But
Oh,
the
Dynasty,
Clintons, I would,
I would say totally the Kennedys, because they're still fucking around.
yeah. Now, not so much, but there was a period of time. But I would still include them in this just because it is historical fact. But the Bushes would also be, I feel, because you had George Bush, then George H.W. Bush, and then George W. Bush. So just a historical reference, a father and then a son being president, another
That's
brother
true.
being
If
a
you're looking at it
governor,
from that perspective,
um,
yes.
a nephew being a commissioner in Texas, potentially maybe going to be running for higher office. So in that aspect, I would also consider the Bush as a dynasty of America. You don't have a lot of those really though, but I would say the Kennedys, the Clintons, even though there's only been two, it was a unique case of a president and a vice a first lady,
Well,
and
and
then who
how
became a senator, and then
accomplished
a presidential
Hillary
candidate.
Clinton is, she's
Yeah,
she's an incredibly accomplished woman, and it's the same with the Obamas. I think what I hope, because obviously Obama was president until 2016. I hope that in the coming years we continue to see, as their daughters rise and decide what they're going to do publicly with their lives. They may not choose
yeah,
public service, and I can understand why not. They grew up in the public eye and had horrible things written about them, and they may not want anything to do with a public life in the next 10 to 20 years. And I totally respect that.
yeah,
But I hope we do see, I hope they have a chance or choose that role. If they do,
yeah,
I totally 100%
yeah,
support it, because I feel like coming generations, families like the Obamas are incredible because Michelle Obama has shown that she can go to Harvard, kill it, do the things she wants to do, and choose to practice. Because people think that being a lawyer means you automatically have to practice in a courtroom or that you're doing a certain way. There's so many more ways to practice law. Just the same as me being a nurse doesn't necessarily mean I have to be a bedside nurse the whole time. There's 1,000 different roles and hats I can wear within my own field that I would be qualified to do. It just, furthering education and everything. And I think Mrs. Obama or Michelle Obama showing that she can do this and she can do that and how diverse she is. And then her Get America Moving movement as well, doing her own thing. And that showing that I think she's a very real person. I think what she shows, I mean, obviously I know everybody's so professional, they're going to be professional on like, interview or a talk show. But I think Michelle Obama is so real, and she was so real. Melania had to copy them, speeches. So we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, no, I think that the Obamas are like amazing.
They're just newer
but
into the scene. So I would love to see.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be having the same conversations. I would like to just include them now because they're incredibly well loved public figures, and Obama was overall very well approved of president. And so
no, for sure
that we see more.
I think it would just depend on the daughters. I feel like the daughters would have to get involved in politics or in not necessarily politics, but involved in public life in some form for me to consider that, or I think the generality to consider that a dynasty, because if you just have two people, it really, there needs to be more. And I know we said that about the Clintons. So I would almost pair them with the Clintons. I feel like the Bushes are a true dynasty in that you have multiple generations that have continued on that run, as in the Kennedys, if we're talking the two in terms of that.
Right. And that, by the way, this is not an endorsement of their policies. That's just saying what their enduring status in the country is. Because just like there's a monarchy does not mean the monarchy is popular. I'm not doing the monarchy as because I am obsessed with them in the sense that I want a monarchy here. It's more of, it does exist. And here in America, we're not really taught a lot. Anything you want to know about them, you really have to go looking. And I think it'd be really interesting to do a little bit of a deep dive and talk about Queen Elizabeth and Philip and how closely related everybody really is. And you can just kind of listen in for an educational bit. My own opinion is, of course, going to be thrown in there because Coma Cast is half me, and yay. But it will be produced by Cody. So you can count on Cody, providing me notes. And we're not doing it live. We are going to record it in this way so that you can, because I want it available on YouTube always as much as possible, because I want captions to be available for any of our mutuals or people who want to follow along that maybe are hearing impaired or are deaf. So that is my hope. We want to make it available in as many venues and avenues, and channels as possible. Alcohol is just like hitting hard because it's very frustrating when there's this topic you're interested in. If you can't follow along or can't properly enjoy it solely over captions or not accessible due to any sort of disability. So if there is something, I meant to bring this up Friday, if there is something or someone that listens or isn't able to listen or follow along, please let us know so that we can explore ways to make the podcast and anything that we do more available, because that's our goal. We want everybody to feel included and to participate in the conversation. If you don't participate in the conversation, we want it to be because you choose not to and you just want to lurk, which is totally fine.
Sitting here now, there's a TV show called Drunk History.
Yes.
And I feel like we need to get you at least 2 more glasses than you already had, and then you need to just tell us a history story. So maybe in the future,
history.
maybe.
Do you guys want to talk about how I took slave trade? I took the slave trade class at my college for my psych degree. I had the option of American History 1 and 2, or I had to take something pre-Civil War or post-Civil War. So I took slave trade or colonial history / Civil War. and I watched the entire Ken Burns documentary. I forgot the word for a second. Documentary on the Civil War, and I followed the entire slave trade. Which, for those who don't know, a branch of my mother's family, which came over during the slave trade, and I actually learned something interesting, Cody, yesterday.
Yeah.
Because I'm a petty bitch, I've done the family history of my mom, my bio dad, and my stepdad, who likes to believe he's better than all of us. And I've learned officially when everybody came to America and started, functioning as Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And he, I think, came over around the same time David and I's families did too, all
Oh
from
wow.
Baden-Württemberg in Germany. So we all originate in Germany, and then over time, it appears blended with immigrants from the UK, from London and Dublin, and Ireland, and then the rest. For me, it was Africa, South Africa, North Africa, and there's one other place, I think Egypt, and then and this would have been unusual in those times because I have an entire timeline of when all this stuff happened too. But it's very fascinating, right down to I think my seventh great grandfather on my mother's side fought in the Revolutionary War and is buried in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, where I happened to live for 6 years. When I moved to PA, I had no idea. So it would be really fun I love history. And so I've collected stories about this through genealogy sites, through my paid
Mm-hmm.
accounts. This is actually something I do on the side. That's one of my hobbies, I would say. But I love
Um,
history. So if you want me to grab a
so
bottle or two of wine and talk about history,
and just tell history.
you tell me what
I need you
subject.
as
Let's do
I
it.
I need you as drunk as they are on the show. You brought up Ken Burns.
Oh,
Let me see if this plays.
oh God.
Benjamin Franklin once said, "There are three things you can count on in this lifetime: death, taxes, and Ken Burns' bowl cut." And for 66 years, those words rang true. Wars were won and lost. Societies
Oh
rose and fell. But Ken Burns' Perky Bob served as a symbol of American resilience until 2020, when the world changed. PBS and Pantene Pro V present Here I Am.
no! Oh my
During the
God.
Civil War, Phineas Cuthbert Burns was shooting his musket when it backfired, perfectly singeing his hairline into its now iconic shape. Phineas saw it as a sign of good luck, and 4 generations of Burns have carried his legacy on their heads until one blustery New Hampshire afternoon in the spring of 2020.
I was watching a Billy Ray Cyrus TikTok,
No shit.
and it looked like he was having so much fun with that windswept hair. And I thought, I'd like to have fun with my hair too.
On July 17th of that year, Ken received a letter from his barber.
Dearest Kenneth, my heart
No.
is made heavy by your absence these past 6 months. But I keep a lock of your hair as remembrance in the hope that one day you will return to me so I can place the
God, I
Burns
can't
family
breathe.
bowl back on your head and cut around it with my scissors, just as my father and grandfather did before me. Lots of love, Lou.
Oh my God.
Ken Burns faces the Frizzies when Here I Am returns.
Well, thank you, Ken. I think that one looks like another winner.
Oh my God, that was one of the funniest fucking things I've seen in days. So are you gonna make me wear like a Ken Burns like bob?
Maybe we should.
Oh God. Hi everyone. I'm Ken Burns. I'm gonna bore the fuck out of you while drunk as shit telling you about the monarchy. Tune in for the next 28 and a half minutes while I terrorize my producer and talk about the monarchy while drunk as fuck. And maybe even touching myself. Who knows? My producer might edit this out.
And I think that is Jonathan's messy Matt.
Ah. Yeah, but is that even messy? Because I say shit like that to you anyway. Oh, I just did the syllable thing. That's the thing I do when I count due to my speech issues. I will count my words.
Mm.
I just saw myself do it on camera. I'm like, oh wait. I usually try to do it off camera. But Cody, I think I kind of like this. Aren't I normally like this?
Yeah, I think so. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't think uh, as we said, alcohol just allows it to flow a little easier, but it's normal. It's normal, Matt. But yeah, so we have been here. We actually went 2.5 hours. So we thank all of you who are joining us. Of course, this happens every Sunday at 8:45 Pacific time. Friday show, Friday live o'clock. Fridays at 5 o'clock Pacific, and then we have new episodes of the podcast every Tuesday and Thursday. So you can keep up. Of course, um, we have our little news segments, and then we have our main topics that go on. This is my news background going on that I can just read, or I'm not in this case. I'm not reading, but I can just speak, and I'm not distracted by anything going on surrounding me.
Yeah, this is normally what I'm doing though while he's trying to read. Now, I will say I do not mess with you at the first part of the podcast. I don't know what it is, but take one of recording the podcast. We're gonna have to do a couple of live so people see it. Because when we do it live, we'll still do a take or two so that when Cody edits it for the podcast for YouTube or anybody else, they don't have to hear all of that. And it's always take one that just kills you. And I try to stay focused. But when take one kills you, I snort. I've snorted right into the microphone so many times. And I'm like, he's going to fire me. He's going to fire me.
I'll just meet you. I'll just meet you. So, yes, thank all of you. You have all hung on. You've hung on this entire time. We can see that you're here. We have numbers, and we can see that y'all have held on. And so, thank you very much for doing that.
Yeah.
I know it's super late. It's late here in West Coast, so it's late the rest of the world.
It's 1:17 here, and due to this raging sinus headache I still have, that I tried to distract myself with alcohol, and it kind of worked. But I'm gonna wait to sober up and drink a lot of water. But I'm gonna probably take a really hot shower to try to relieve this because I'm not gonna take medications along with drinking alcohol. Like, I recognize that I grew up in I am white, and a pill addiction would be really fitting, but I am not going to contribute to unhealthy behaviors. I'm just going to kind of do what I was raised to do in the trailer park and just drink a little more.
And you heard it here first. So we hope all of you have a great Sunday evening, and you have a great work week if you have to work. And we will see y'all all on Tuesday for a podcast episode, and of course, live videos are not live videos, but video versions of those podcasts up on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then we'll see you again for our live shows where we get to interact with all of you because it's so fun, and we thank all of you. But until Tuesday, I hope you all have a great night. And I'm Cody.
I'm Matt. Thank
you
all for joining us. We really appreciate it. Drink
Bye.
responsibly.
Or smoke.
What? Yeah, totally. Just not cigarettes.
Legalize pot. Legalize pot. Oh,
legalize pot.
Keith, real quick. Keith says, "You guys are the best." Thanks
for listening. Thank you, Keith. We love you.
Bye.
Bye.